Hello, welcome to Glory Goals.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
I'm not on the ball.
you were third that time.
Fourth.
It's live. Yes, I was fourth actually. So hi everyone. GG Live. We've had a couple of weeks off. Two, three.
Yeah.
Three. We've had a
3
number
weeks
of time
back,
off.
right?
I don't even know what day it is anymore.
Today's
Sunday.
Monday.
Sunday. If you work today, you did something wrong.
Yes.
To be
So
fair,
hello
I
everyone.
keep getting up at like 8:30 on a Saturday, going over to my computer and going, nah, I'm going back to bed. It's a Saturday. It's horrible.
Yeah. So yeah. So this is we've got a guest on tonight.
Try and sound a little bit more excited, Luke.
No, I'm getting nervous about. I'm getting nervous about the. I was getting nervous about pronunciation.
It's not
It's
that
Carol.
hard.
Carol.
Yes, that was actually very good.
Was it?
Right.
Yeah.
For people who weren't in the green room before this started, Luke had about 6 attempts.
That's true. That's true. And that's not his best one that he got live now.
Save it for the
Oh.
night.
Thanks
yes,
for having me, guys.
For those of you who don't know, Carol is the organizer for this year's WTC Guild Ball WTC. That's a weird way of saying it.
Kind of.
Still going ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
Austria is slowly starting to open up. So do several other countries. We're very positive this will happen. We have only a limited amount of transcontinental teams. And I think everybody's looking forward to it. I mean, I've even been asked by several War Machine Hordes guys if they can have like some slots at the tournament for a team would rather play War Machine 1, 2, and 3. Now that their WTC has been cancelled.
Nice.
Yeah.
But it's really good. We're obviously excited. We're quite excited, aren't we?
We are.
We're very excited.
We are very much looking forward to it.
Definitely.
So yeah. So we've got a bit of a varied thing. So this is a bit of a catch up. First, have a chat. We'll be engaging with people on the thing. Has anyone got any hobby that they're doing at the moment?
Yes.
Hobby.
What are you doing, Rich?
I've got Star-Lord and Loki on my table at the minute.
Oh.
Nice.
So we're going to talk Guild Ball, and no one's doing any Guild Ball. I assembled what's her name, Steeljaw, ordered and received and assembled, but it is
he's got it.
Yeah.
Stormcast.
I feel you. A friend of mine just started a 40k build and paint project together. It's like we meet once a week, come together, paint some models. And also I got my 14-year-old who started playing Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Hey.
To be a game for the young generation. And and he's building with us, so he's very excited to join us.
That is building up to be. That's going to be a very expensive hobby because they seem to release them at a rate of knots. It's kind of I can't keep up with the amount of boxes that are coming out now. It's got the problem where you're going to have to pick your favourites. You're not going to be able to buy them all.
Yeah, it hasn't helped that they've had like a month and a half of not being able to release anything.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden everything's sort of trying to get through the release schedule. So I had Corvus Glaive and the Corvus Glaive box and Nebula and Gamora arrive at the weekend, and that was really good. So
they're all tempting me. I'm just trying to stop. Although I've just ordered some Raging Heroes stuff because I've looked at their stuff for a long time, and I'm doing a Kings of War army. So I like to look at some of their stuff for that.
Are you not printing an army?
That was the intention, but
that was how you justified buying a 3D printer, wasn't it, Dave?
I bought the 3D printer a long time ago. No, but the intention was to 3D print everything, and then I felt a little bit guilty because I feel like I should buy some stuff from some sort of well, some sort of hobby company.
Support your local stores, Dave.
So Dave, have you started painting Steeljaw already?
No, not yet.
I don't know if he's a big painter. Just assuming.
Right.
So he has 6 painted. He has 6 painted Union models, and that's his team 6.
That's the 6 he's playing, right?
Most of the Union team is painted, but it took me.
I've
only painted pretty quick.
No one has a
Rage will
more
get painted
rehearsed.
eventually.
No one has a more rehearsed Blackheart 6 than Dave.
Because there is something that one of the Austrian guys did. He took steel trap and he removed all the steel traps from the cloak, besides the one that she's holding in her hand.
Yeah.
And the model looks fantastic. It looks so much more menacing than with all the stuff going on around her. Because now she's like very, slimmed down, very, very much focused on the one trap she's holding like this towards you.
She'll be able to sneak up on people because you can't sneak up with a cloak full of steel.
Rather than looking like a scrap dealer.
I must admit, I put them all together. She does look nice. It's just her and Mitagi I bought outside of the rest of them. So the rest of them are all assembled and sprayed and painted.
Why you just recently built Mitagi, Dave? Is it anything to do with the recent changes?
Well, there's two reasons. One, the recent change, and two, you'd given me Minerva and Mitagi, the plastic ones, and I lost him. I don't know what I've done with him. So I had to buy.
Giving them don't sound like something I'd do.
I'm pretty sure
you gave them.
Yeah. Well, maybe you did. Maybe you did sell them for a $5 or something. I don't know. But either way, you provided me with a Minerva and a Mitagi, and then I can't find that Mitagi. Plus, the limited edition one's nice anyway, so I picked him up on eBay for £6 or £7. So he got assembled after everyone else. But also, there was no incentive to assemble him until now because he's actually good.
Talking about limited Mitagi, what do you guys think about the fact that they didn't do crossover models for a Bushel and Veteran Honor?
Ooh. I think the first comment is: would anyone actually use a Veteran Honor?
That's another question. Yes, but still, as someone who likes to paint and likes to collect models.
Oh yeah, I'm very much about the collecting models, very little about the painting models.
See, I'm on a big painting thing at the moment. I'm loving my painting at the moment.
You're only painting lizard men.
I'm currently building a
Why? Why lizard men?
Because they're broken.
No. That's not fair.
It's which HQ sold out as soon as GW opened, Luke?
The one that I can't get hold of, Lord Crow.
Oh, really? No. Really? Because they're perfectly balanced.
However, in my defence, how long my Lizardmen army? I've literally spent no money on them, and they were all on squares.
Weird brag.
Which they were. What? No, but it's not as if I've got. Oh, these are a new meta army, so I'm buying them and doing them. How long have I been talking about a Lizardmen book for?
Okay.
About 18 months.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. So
and now it's here.
Play the new meta because you already own the models. I can see where you're coming from.
I've played no AOS, but haven't you got a Tzeentch change host list?
It's the only army that I own.
Yeah, I've got my.
And I bought them when they were bad because they were easy to contrast.
So incidentally, I kind of started Thousand Suns. So yeah, there you go.
Nice.
There you go.
Rich likes his AOS. It's 40k.
I do like 40k. I've got more 40k than I really should have.
I sold all of my Warhammer Fantasy stuff like 8 years ago. Got out of all of it, but I retained my second edition Sororitas Battle Sisters army. So
yeah,
we'll never sell those guys, I guess.
I don't know. The Battle Sisters have some sort of like die-hard fans.
Yeah. And I was,
we've got
very happy when they redid the thing. Oh.
That's what I was laughing
at. Which is probably fair.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah,
it's very true.
But yeah, I am actually. What I've done as part of the. You're right, Dom. Dom's just logged in. So as part of the lockdown, I set myself a bit of a challenge because I had all this huge Lizardmen army and none of them were painted. So they were all from 10, 12, whatever years ago, all on squares. So I set myself a project that I want to do. I want to get at least 2,000. I want to get them all on round bases, and then I want to get as many of them painted as I can. So as of yesterday, I hit 2,150 points worth painted so far. So So I set myself a little personal thing of once I've got 2,000 points painted, I can then open this to put my second Bastillodon on. Ready for that flat 3 damage against Chaos Demons, Rich.
Yeah, all right.
Do they talking about the fact that he cheesed his way into another good army?
Nighthaunt aren't a good army.
They are.
But that was anyway. The start of that army. But that, yeah, so I'm currently, in terms of hobby, I'm currently working on Age of Sigmar at the moment. We're hoping to potentially do some for the channel, hopefully. Because Ryan's got a couple of painted armies. He's got an IDK army fully painted, a Sylvaneth army fully painted. What else has he got? And then he's working on a More Tribes army at the moment. So he's proper in it. I've got my painted Nighthaunt and painted 2,000 points of Lizardman now. Dave's got about 10,000 points of Stormcast owned.
Just piled up in boxes. Yeah.
Rich has got about 5,000 points of Tzeentch on cocktail sticks.
They're all on cocktail sticks.
Volpus pink contrast. That's what you need. Oh, and some sort of blue.
Since she's got into MCP, the missus really wants to try painting.
I told you, get her on them pink horrors.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So she started off by painting.
You have to train her up. Yeah, that's it. You have to learn.
I've started off. I sprayed the measuring sticks for MCP black, and then I let her go at it with the white paint, and then she obviously went over with the colour that she wanted. And she, to be fair, for a first attempt, she's done a good job. So I thought, right, let's get her to try some contrast. So I'm going to spray up some esters from Necromunda. Because they're all drawn. Esches. Sorry, Esches, yeah.
Esters, I was like, you're trying to give her a Guild Ball model.
You're trying to entice her into Necromunda now, aren't you?
All of them the same model, all Esters.
Yeah, this is it. They're all called Esther, yeah.
Like this one Union Fangtooth army that the one guy did. Did you see
those? That's amazing.
Yeah. I saw them last year at the WTC, and they were amazing.
Dan Adams took them. What's the guy's name? It made
Charlie Culver, isn't it?
Yes. Charlie Culver Matt done them, and then Dan Adams from Roll Better, he took them and used them as his Union team. They're just beautiful.
Yeah, they are amazing.
They're so good. So, Karoff, what? Because I don't really know much about your guild balling. What guild do you play mainly? What?
I started with Hunters.
Yeah.
And my wife got Fishermen, so these were the two guilds we kind of sort of started out with, and then it kind of sort of escalated. Do you hear her laughing? So I went to the WTC last year with Order. I love playing the Order. It's a fun team to play with. But my heart lies with the family. So Farmers is really the team that I love the most. I get a lot of spoos. That's fine.
What captains do you use?
Thrasher.
The captain. That's the problem. I love playing Festival nowadays. But Thrasher is just you're handicapping yourself if you're not playing him.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. If I'm not in a tournament, I will usually dedicate myself to not playing him because you always learn something new, and if you try Grange, Amber, and so on and so forth, there's something to be found. And now with Lamb, it has shifted a lot, I think, because Lamb is really good. So that's it.
Do you play? So I imagine you're playing games with your wife and that currently while you're locked down, or?
Well, there's Vassal, and we're not on the lockdown anymore. I've played my first on the table game last Friday. So
nice. So
how did it feel after lockdown? Did it feel
you
strange?
wouldn't believe it. We were a group of 6 guys meeting at a friend's place. There's a big garden, so we met in the morning, played a game of War Machine Hordes, then had a big barbecue, then a game of, and sit together in a big circle and just talk after 2 months not seeing anyone.
Yeah.
And that was like so nurturing. And then we played a game of Guild Ball. I played what did I play? I played against Alchemists, and I forgot what I did play. I think I brought Falconers. Yeah, why would that be? And and then played another game and went home. It's fantastic.
Nice.
Are you trying? So you were? Have you? What's your thoughts on Shepherds at the moment as a Farmers player?
Truth be told, I got them. I haven't assembled them, and I haven't painted or anything done with them. I just couldn't motivate myself to actually get into them. And this for somebody who really likes the minor teams and I really love playing them. I just can't motivate myself for the Shepherds. And I was really hyped for them, but the Ram is a medium based, which is something I really despise, to be honest. The dogs sound great, but I don't feel them. I'm sorry, I just don't. I like Lamb.
See, they seem amazing.
They do.
Like on paper.
Yeah. But that might be one of the things when the minors came out. I also didn't play those because I'm a sucker for the underdog. Let's put it like this, and I just don't like the next best biggest thing. I don't feel that. And if I go to a tournament like we had the one that I hosted in Graz in Austria, and we had 20 teams and 5 of them were minors, I see no reason to play them. I'm sorry.
I'm not a fan of minors.
But the team I like the least still have to be the Morticians. That's the only team I don't own, and I will never own. And despise them.
I quite well. It's using what John's theory of fun with playing Obulus, isn't it?
John's theory of fun is the best thing.
John's our local Mortician player. He basically says, you don't have a good time playing Morticians, but his intention is, I'm going to make you have less fun than me. So then, by that definition, I'm then having fun because you're having less fun than me. That's his analogy of happiness.
Yeah.
So there is this guy in Austria. You might know him from the Longshanks listings. Ruffy. He's a fantastic player, great guy, really really good person, and he was a pundit like I was, and I can only say the best things about him. But playing against him, and he was playing Morticians for a long time, it's like chewing cardboard. And
nice.
Which is fine. I mean, as I said, perfect player and everything's good, but the team just doesn't do anything for me. Not even playing against them.
Yeah, I think they really struggle with the direction that the game's going to try and speed the game up. Morticians struggle because they just try and slow everything down. So it's not exactly enjoyable to do, and it's not easy to do.
But they're restricted as well because their health pools don't let them speed the game up either. They can't really throw people forwards because they die.
Exactly. Yeah. This is it. So I don't know. I've done my time with Morticians now. I've moved on.
Was this your segue towards talking about the test thing, the infamous?
This is it.
Yeah.
Yes. This was your segue. Well done.
We've planned this really well. But yeah, the field test is a thing, isn't it, at the moment? That's currently ongoing. Henry K. Oh, go on, Rich.
I was going to say, surely the smart place would be to start with the new rules that they want us to test, and then move into Henry's poll on everyone's thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay, that's cool. Let's start with that.
Go on, Rich. You start with the rules changes.
No, it's fine. I've got to get the rules up on my phone, so you might as well start.
You want me to keep talking then while you find it?
No, you just find it.
The rule changes were.
Dave's prepared.
I don't remember them. I don't remember all of them probably. It was capping crowd outs to +1, -1.
Yeah.
Removing wraps.
There was general health influence pool for everybody.
A general influence pool for everyone, and what's the
3-point
come on,
goals.
mate? Whatever the come back on. I can't remember what it's called. Put me back in, coach. The universe will put me back in, coach.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I still haven't worked out how to install Vassal, so I've not had a chance to play any games.
And 3-point goals, yeah.
Oh, 3-point goals. Sorry, yeah.
So should we start from rule 1?
Yeah.
Yes.
What? Good place to start.
Which was?
Oh, Luke.
I bring it up myself. I can't.
This is awful. I apologise.
You only get you only get the best content here.
So
well,
fast.
It was only yesterday when we went, should we do a live show? We ain't done one for ages. And that was
Playbooks No Longer Rap was the first one, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Right, so just as a throw-off opinion then, I think it could be an interesting result, but I think Steamforge are making a rod for... Hold on. I think Steamforge are making a rod for their own backs, because that's going to mean that every playbook is going to need to be fixed.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There are plenty of teams that have got players and entire guilds that are designed around wrapping. I mean, Brewers had the shorter playbook purely for that reason.
Exactly.
So I think it's dangerous because it could fundamentally change certain guilds, and whether people are like that or not is another matter. But
look at it this way: just from the perspective of the team that I'm playing at the minute, Engineers, you rely on getting that wrap to double tackle to get around close control, or you rely on getting the wrap so you can tackle, double dodge, and then triple dodge. So a lot of things rely on that. So I think it's.
I'm always looking for wrapping for that reason, double tackle.
Well, look at it this way. Look at how you play Union. When you're going in, you're like, cool, I've got all the extra dice from all the crowd outs. I'm going to wrap. I'm going to win on momentum. So it stops the games and the teams that go, right, I want all the momentum in the world, because you're not going to get that now.
Blackheart going in with confidence on is purely designed to wrap, to get his 4 damage knockdown and then get some extra damage as well.
Yeah,
otherwise, it changes what you need to do, really, I suppose. But
I also think that this first proposed change means we are going to do a full new edition of the game, because the way, as everybody agrees here, the game is not built currently to do this. It would just destroy some guilds and help others tremendously.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, I think I want to go, before we carry on with the conversation, I want to go on record and basically say that individually, none of these changes work. You need to change, of the 5 things that they've listed, you need to bring in 2 or 3 of them minimum to balance everything else out, because I don't think 3-point goals works, especially with how fast you can kill people. If you're bringing in crowd outs, then you will need to change the playbook length and stop them wrapping. So I think those 3 work as a package, but they do not work individually.
I'm kind of thinking the not wrapping and capping crowd outs almost fulfills the same role. So it could be like one or the other. Because if you're only going to get +1, then wraps are going to be a lot rarer because of armor. Armor exists. So actually, wrapping would be a good thing, but it'd be a rare thing. It'd be a lot rarer to see it, and you don't really get it on the charge. And if you're spending 2 influence, you kind of want a return of 2 results. So part of me kind of says,
I agree.
Acceptable.
Well, okay, let's throw it out there then. Because I think you've raised a very good point that I hadn't considered. If you can no longer wrap, does that make armor more or less valuable?
I thought about the same question. I think
exactly. Because in this stage, then armor is put into the game to sort of as a whole package. But yes, as you say, it makes armor a whole lot more valuable now if you can't wrap. But look at it this way.
But successes would still count, so you could still get enough successes to overcome the armor.
No, I agree. But so here's the thing then. If you then charge and you have more dice, there's most characters in the game, when they charge, they generally have more dice than their playbook learn as a standard. Yeah. So at that point, when you charge, armor becomes even less valuable.
Much more
because
Hi, Barry.
No, because the thing, well, yes and no, because if you then score all successes, it doesn't really matter because you've capped out anyway.
I think it has a break-off
my
point
point would be I think that armor is really important because it will. The only reason to charge, if you can't wrap, the only reason to charge and get the extra dice is to overcome someone with a particularly high armor.
Yeah.
Or to get more results.
Because otherwise.
But couldn't you give, with the whole rebalancing, couldn't you give everyone, like players, like to incentivize charging, give them like a Sledge style playbook with like, yeah, you want that momentous 8 at the top of the playbook kind of thing? Like,
no, because then.
I think that's the way it would go.
It just destroys some characters. Then you're getting into how many hit points does a character need to if again, full re-edition of the game.
Yeah, this is it, because what my point is I'm trying to get across is if you limit wraps, then yes, you will have to change everyone's playbooks. But as you've mentioned, you also have to change the health pools, the armor. They're all a package that all fit together. You can't change one without tweaking all the others.
So the whole Malifaux thing.
Honestly, it will make a massive change to the game. You'll probably find characters be a whole lot more simplified. Because look at it this way: they took Union out of the game for fitting with the other teams because it was hard to balance characters that fit between.
Still a great decision.
Exactly, this is it. But look at it this way: if they then change the playbooks, then every character needs to be rebalanced. So
about the Union thing,
it blows
there is
my
a fun
mind.
story, there is a sad story about the Union thing. I had a player in Vienna who had just recently started, and if you think back when the announcement was that the Union would be capsuled off, and it was considered a completed guild. This is the wording they used, and the Union player that had just started was like, I just invested into a dead guild. I won't get any models. I won't get any updates. I won't get anything. And he actually dropped off the game. He gave away all the models, and he was like, I'm not playing anymore. I'm not interested in this. So this is just as a corner case example how news flashes can affect your player base. Because if there is a dedicated Union player, and he's like, okay, I guess that's over for me.
Yeah, because in the story, all of their players went off to different guilds.
Yes, or died.
Or escaped.
See, I've got
Raychart is still out there.
along the same lines. We had a local player who stopped playing. He went to an event. This was years and years and years ago. He went to an event and got halfway through the event before he got told that he wasn't allowed to take mist in his morticians because the rat catchers had come out, and he didn't know. And he played like 2 or 3 games in a day using mist, and it was completely illegal. And then after that, Craig Wright, and then he never came to an event again.
That is sad. That is seriously sad. Yeah.
But no one thought it was like 2 weeks after Rats had come out, hadn't it? Because that was the one in like the pig shed, weren't it?
Pig shed.
I got smashed playing Rat Catchers. It was like the week after they came out, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take Rats." I like went 2-3 or something like that. By game 4. I was on the bottom table. I was like, ooh.
Luke, interesting comment. Old Buzzard. If you just have one long playbook, what would be different about the Smiths? I can tell you one thing will be different about the Smiths. Sledge will be a whole lot more useless because you are not going to get that wrap to get your pile driver.
And you will never get the sweet high damage result ever again if you hit a model with 1 armor.
Exactly.
So we're going into the cast meta anyway. It's fine. When
you used to get that perfect charge where Sledge used to go in, deal 8 damage, and get his pole driver for the next swing.
I'm just going to go on record again about how annoyed I am about the new cast meta because I played him. I thought he was good.
Mr. Hipster, cast hipster, right here.
Where's this coconut latte, Dave?
Well, seriously, in Austria, we have like 4 players who are now shifting towards the team because of the cast meta, and everyone's like, I need to play this. This is really good.
Yeah,
this is it.
I thought she was good before the changes. Now they've made the changes and made her even better. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take her. But
I don't know. I'm yet to play with or against her, but she seems a bit insane.
It is really good. It is painful to play against.
Yeah, it does seem really silly what you can do.
I've seen a Hunters player getting utterly destroyed by it, completely obliterated. There was nothing he could do.
It's just mad that the sheer damage, and like the fact that she starts as a 7/9, and you've got movement buffs and give her a 2-inch melee and.
Yep. This is it.
Call her up.
I mean,
let's go to the second one, right?
Yes.
I'm just excited about this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What's the second
I might have to pay my blacksmith. I have to.
Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Just 6 of them. Just 6 of them.
Cast half. What's rule 2?
Cast half.
Ganging up and crowding out a capped at 1.
Right. Again, some teams need that ganging up. Rage Union literally is built around it.
I think this change would help ball playing teams because killing the ball gets weaker by this rule. You can't hide your Colossus amongst Ratchet and the mascot, whatever you want to take, and just sit in the corner while that velocity sees the world burn. You know what I mean? It's you then can get there and only get a -1 and get the tackle or the ball's gone, whatever.
It's true. And how do you deal with high tack players? Sort of the number of times I've seen Vet Board just grouped up on, so he's then effectively like tack 3 or 4, and he's nowhere near as effective.
Well, I'd done it with you. Remember when you played Navigators, and I put like 3 players around Fathom, and I went, there you go, what you doing? Good luck. And that was it. She was by the goal, and I was like, I'm just putting 3 players around her. So you're doing nothing. And she was
basically, while I don't know, I think there's still a place for it, to be honest, because you can still put people in them sad triangles where they can't escape. So okay, they might only be at -1 tack, but the model still can't move.
Also, there is don't forget that this might become a waltz because it's only capped at +/-1, but you still want to control the scum. How many players do you send in to get this sweet +1? Do you only invest 2 to get it once? If the other player sends another one in, do you add another one, or do you try to play elsewhere? It's not said that this only affects 2 models. It only says that the scrum becomes a +/-1 tops. So it could still be ongoing there.
It becomes Blood Bowl then. Where you're constantly looking, right, this guy's engaged, this guy's engaged. Oh no.
Don't say the bad word. I hate that game.
I hate that game.
I've gone on the record and said I can't stand sitting watching your opponent roll dice for 3 hours and playing Blood Bowl. That's literally all it is.
Or just rolling 1 dice, failing, and then suddenly your turn's over.
This is it. You'll watch them roll for half an hour. Go, oh, it's my turn. Oh, I've rolled a skull. You'll go again.
Like, I need a 2+ re-rolling. Failed.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not for me.
For me, it was finally over when I was playing in an online league, and I played Saurus, and I had the big Croxy in, and the first block my opponent threw was a red 1 die, because it was pretty much the only thing he had. It was online, and he had misclicked, and he threw the red die. He got it down on me. He was happy, so I got downed, and the Croxy died. And the league was over for me because he had just died and there was nothing I could do. I didn't have an output because, first game. Yeah.
No, it's just not on.
It's, I think, Blood Bowl, it shows its age. I think that's probably the nicest way of saying about Blood Bowl. You can tell it's an old game. And the problem is that we found when it had the whole relaunch, our local store done like a new player. A big league, but it was all the old boys who had played Blood Bowl since before I was born.
Yeah, this is the problem. It's got a massive following, but
and it's quite like a heavy.
But they're very
type.
Exactly, but they're very vocal. So if you change the game that they've been supporting for years, you've lost them. It's odd.
So there's
you mean like we're doing about Guild Ball?
There's some numbers. So the Guildball WTC.
I didn't mean that.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make that comparison. It's just quite weird that
That's
it
what
came
I thought.
out
You're
like
like
that.
they're moaning, saying don't touch our game while we're talking about a field test for Guildball.
Yeah, that was a weird
Anyway.
comparison. Sorry,
Yeah,
carry
so-
on.
Guildball WTC in Austria will have roughly 160 players this year because we didn't get it full, and 160 is good enough. Did you know that the World Championships in Blood Bowl were in Austria last year as well? I guess you didn't. How many players do you guess were there?
500. It'll be something stupid. like that.
500. You are below the mark.
Wow. Okay.
Like a week-long tournament.
It was
whittle them
big.
down.
There were almost 2,000 players.
Oh wow. Okay.
Sure.
And I don't know where they found them and what necropolis they have opened to get all of them, but
Nagash has been at work.
Nagash went playing Blood Bowl. Yeah, that's
Sorry, Blood Bowl players.
I'm pretty sure they're not watching us, to be fair.
No, I don't think so.
If Luke puts a hashtag Blood Bowl in this, we'll get so many more views.
And some enemies,
We've done
probably,
just
as well.
one Blood Bowl back rep.
The really bad one, right?
It'd take about 6
No,
hours.
I was going to say if Dave's in it, I can't spare 12 hours to play one
Do you
game.
remember?
of Blood
Do you remember
Bowl.
do you remember all the unpleasant comments you got from Keystone players when you tried to play that on
Keyforge. That was hilarious. We annoyed so many people by us trying to play Keyforge. The comment, honestly, we had like loads of comments every week because people were like, you did this wrong, you did this wrong. And you're like, oh, cool, there's another timestamp where I've done something stupid. Cool, there we go. Let's go.
So we're not really card game players. we got Keyforge. We were like, oh, it's quite a fun little game.
We
We're
just
like,
enjoyed the game.
we just buy a deck. It's not really going to be that huge and competitive. And that turns out the Magic the Gathering crowd likes it. And you did that wrong, you did that wrong, you did that wrong. Oh,
Yep.
Barry loves Blood Bowl.
Cool.
Oh, sorry,
Right.
Barry.
Sorry, but no, right. I've just hit myself on a skink's head.
I
Right.
thought you just bit yourself.
No,
You did
on his
what?
little spiky mohawk, I whacked my thumb on it and it hurt. Anyway, so
Barry also loved it hard.
Barry,
So-
were you at the World Championships last year?
were you in your 1,999 mates there? But the thing
No
with the Blood
way.
Bowl,
It's insane.
Oh,
hang
buzzard.
on, right. That's mental.
Yeah.
So the
I don't-
problem
it's
that I've
enormous.
found with Blood Bowl is that this may be just the people that we've played against. Is I think
You're saying we've
it's
got a
fun-
bad local meta?
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying. That's your words, not mine.
Yeah, beardy local
What
better.
I'm saying is, I enjoy it. I like the Warhammer Fantasy World. I like the silliness of it and stuff like that. But the problem is that it's too long for the fun you get out of it. I don't hear that very often.
Totally your sex tape.
That's
a
the
weird
title of the
flex.
big sex tape.
No, the game.
With all the setup and the work afterwards, right? It becomes really tedious.
Sorting out the
He's
payment,
done
all
that
that.
before.
That's the sequel. That's the sequel sex tape. It becomes a bit tedious.
We done? So I found playing against people who like know what they're doing. The game kind of goes on. Like sometimes it went 2 to 3 hours for the games, but it turned out like I was playing Skaven in this league, and they did a cage. They just hit me, and they slow rolled up the pitch, and I was just, well, I can't get this ball. I was playing against orcs and dwarves, and I know that's their style of play, and I was just like, well, I've just got to wait for you to score, and then I'll try and score again or something like that.
Yep.
That's my problem with Blood Bowl. I mean, I played second edition Blood Bowl back in the kind of late 80s, 90s. and you surround them. You create this little cage, put your ball hole in the middle, and just roll up the pitch, and that's what you do.
Did you play Dwarves?
No, I only had Humans and Orcs because I just bought the original box. It was like the second edition box with the styrene pitch. Me and a mate played it a number of times, but yeah, that was it. It just ended up being you created a cage and then rolled up the pitch, and I still think there's similar tactics. It is the beating aspect and the scrummaging is far more important than the actual ball play, and well, maybe that's an analogy we can make again to Guild Ball, and that people seem like that's at the minute that's the way to win competitively is to focus on takeouts rather than scoring.
So interestingly, I've got a bit of a start. I'm going to move Barry's comment, but I agree that it should be a beer and pretzels game rather than a fun.
Completely.
So funny story. 3rd edition Blood Bowl. I think I was about 8, 10, 12-ish, something like that when it was out. Maybe about 10 or something like that. I used to go to this youth clubby type thing, which was run by the local church. And me and my friend started playing Blood Bowl. And we went to they'd rented some cottage or something somewhere where they took all these. It was basic. It wasn't anything weird.
They rented a cottage that they took all the young boys to.
There was some girls.
Yeah, I'm wondering where this is going.
Are you okay, Luke? Is this you trying to talk to us about?
Is this not therapy? Anyway, no, basically to keep us out of this sounds...
to keep us out of...
Basically, me and my mate wanted to take Blood Bowl with us, but because it was like a church thing, they were like, "You can't take this, you can't take that." And what we'd done is we'd got one of the cards out of the Death Zone box or something like that, had a thing called a magic trick or something where it was like a banana skin or something like that, and we were going, no, it's just a fun, friendly sports game, but with jokes and stuff, like a Mario Kart type game. And we showed them the box, and it looks a bit violent, and then we showed them that one card that we'd got prepared. We went, look, see, it's just like it's called Dirty Trick or something like that. And they went, all right, yeah, okay, you can do it. And then we started playing it when we were there. We're like, yeah, it's going to kill him and do this. Like, angry, 10-year-old Luke screaming down the corridor. And we got it taken off us. And I haven't seen it since.
Oh, that's sad. So is GW still supporting it? I mean, the new edition, is it still supporting it? Is there
yeah.
They've just released the Ogres, haven't they? Ogres and
Snotling teams coming out.
Oh, the Snotling team. I saw that, yeah. I must have shown this to my wife.
They look really, really cool.
Yeah, I think it's mainly supported by Forge World at this point.
I think they do the one team. That each team gets a plastic box, I think, and then most of the special characters are Forge World.
Lizard Men ain't long come out. Just saying. me and Rich we've found our new game that we like, haven't we? Blitz Bowl.
Oh yeah.
So sadly it's the American only not Guild Ball, Blood Bowl that you can only get for
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble, and it. Oh damn it! I tied it up. I was going to
Mine's downstairs.
Yeah,
but it's basically like a small box version of Blood Bowl where you get half the players, so you get like one half of the team's brew, and they're your characters. But you only get 3 activations per turn, and that's literally it. So 3 actions, sorry. So one player might run, another might throw, one more action, and then you're done, and it's a whole lot faster. And it turns around a whole lot quicker. And honestly, it's a lot more fun.
And you have objective decks. So it's like you can say if on your team you do 3 passes on a turn, you get this. So it's like a deck of cards that you put 3 out as your objectives, and then it kind of goes.
Luke, I think the easiest thing to do is for us to bring a copy with us to Austria.
Yes,
yeah,
do that.
We'll bring a copy of it to Austria.
Don't confiscate it.
Don't confiscate it
to Austria. Did you guys see that I made a call for everybody bringing food stuff from their nation? So you might get a lot of stuff to test.
No way! When did that go out after our last video?
Yeah.
Oh, look what we've started. That's gonna be amazing.
I'm gonna get even fatter.
And I told them I told the Swedish guys they can't bring surströmming because we
No,
don't
no,
want the place evacuated. No. And if I did pronounce this wrong, I'm sorry.
Surely you're not allowed to bring that across international borders, are you?
I don't know.
No,
please open this?
There's been some chats between me and Luke on what we're bringing with us. So yes,
me go for the cheapest option.
Corner shop custard cream.
we said we need to bring some chocolate. So the shop next door somebody sells custard creams for £1.
I got it right.
I said to Luke, I kicked it off with Luke, and I said, Luke, do you think they sell scrumpy in the airport lounge, so we can bring some scrumpy with us?
What is a scrumpy?
It's cider.
It's like cider. Proper like Cornish cider.
I love it, but it's like flat.
But it comes in a big glass jug, like a proper.
Dave could live in it.
It looks the business. So I want to pick one of those up in the airport lounge and bring it with us.
Well, you'll be able to bring it as long as you put it in your case.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, a glass bottle in a suitcase.
Next to the camera equipment, this will go well.
I see no downside.
We've got 2 suitcases. It's fine. We'll put one in one and one in the other.
Right. I did this once for a colleague of mine. I'm working for a US pharma company, and I was flying over to LA, and she was like, "Can you bring some beer?" And I asked, "How what? Yeah, can you bring 10 cans of beer to the US?" I was like, "Okay." So I got 10 cans of Austrian beer, and I packed them into plastic rubbish bags basically, and put them into my luggage. And I didn't know that if you fly into the US, you can only bring 2 liters of alcohol. So I walked up to immigration, and I had to fill this thing, and he was like, "So you said you brought 5 liters of alcohol. What's the market value of those 5 liters of alcohol?" And I was like, "I don't know, like $5, maybe 7."
You got to pay tax on it.
He actually let me pass without paying taxes on this.
See, I bet that lasted them forever. Like, Americans are not big drinkers.
This one is.
Oh, cool.
There's always an exception that proves the rule.
Well, there is, yeah. This is it. It's true.
So that's rule 1 talked about then.
We've covered 1 and 2.
We've done 2.
Rule 2 out of 5. We're getting there.
What's the next one?
What's rule 3?
Influence ball. It's been so long.
We've got with me. Oh, I thought about something with this. Concussion. How amazing would concussion be?
Oh God,
that was covered I saw that. I saw that in a post earlier today, and they were like, "Yeah, we classed it as concussion. Just removes 1 from the pool."
I don't think that's as good, to be honest.
What?
Are you joking?
Sorry, Rage under Greed currently. Double activations.
Yeah, the extra influence thing is fine. I mean, concussion itself isn't that good.
What? It removes some influence from the pool? That's amazing.
Well, get rid of like 6 influence in your pool.
Or, as it used to be, completely new to the dangerous model. So you think about when I did concussion against Vet Cat, you basically neutered Vet Cat for a turn. That doesn't happen anymore. You can take some influence away, but they've still got enough to spend on the big model they want to do. All you're doing is whittling down some of the other activations. They might not be able to do one or 2 of the other things they wanted to do, but they still got that massive activation.
Okay, but look at it this way, right? If you also bring in the fact that it doesn't wrap, how are they going to generate any momentum at that point?
You're whittling down the momentum. So momentum's capped at the most, as much influence as you've got, or other ways of generating momentum that you might have, free plays or whatever.
But it might also change the way teams have to activate, because if you keep Vet Cat for this big, get in, do damage thing at the end of all these deactivations, and then somebody comes in with concussion, it's like, so you got 3 influence left, you got 2, you got 1. Vet Cat is going to poke his nose this turn.
So Barry's, that's interesting. Hang on. This is actually Guild Ball related. So we've been playing it to reduce the influence cap on the target model rather than taking it from the pool. Okay.
I like that better because that keeps concussion almost like true to how it was intended. Yeah,
well, they might just, if they do an influence pool, they'll probably just get rid of the character play or change it to something different.
Yeah.
Again, redesign.
But I like the idea. I said it on the last one. Like for a newer person, I think it's got some mileage by doing the okay. I'm going to having an influence pool. I know allocation's a huge part of the game, but I wouldn't do it as the way that this kind of says it, where you go, I'm going to hit you, spend an influence. I'm going to hit you, spend an influence. It's more, I'd like it played as, I'm now going to activate Rage, or I'm going to activate Decimate. I'm going to use 3 influence for this activation.
I think that makes it fairer.
I think that's probably a better way of doing it. Of going, so you've got your pull, you're able to be dynamic and change your plans, but then when you activate your player, it's kind
of a halfway house between having full ability to use as much as you want and doing it at the start, so you don't know effectively what you need. So I like it.
If you go, I'm going to hit someone, they'll go counter and double dodge away. You go, okay, I'm done. I haven't wasted anything. But I think there should be some investment by you going, okay, at this point, I'm going to invest this much in this activation.
Because to be honest, my main issue with Pin Voice, as I've said before, is it's far too often that she will get pushed away and then she's left there with a massive stack and nothing to do. So if you then go, cool, okay, yeah, sure, I've got pushed away, over. The rest of my influence is there for the rest of the team.
It's the same issue with is it Scalper? Yeah, no, not Scalper.
Scafer.
Goddamn. The second Butcher's captain.
Philip.
Yeah, Philip gets pushed away and she has like 6 remaining influence, and you're like, can't re-engage. Guess that's my activation.
Yeah.
I think that's true. I still think that there should be a level of that in the game, in that there is boom or bust on some things.
Dyson Fury, hold on. Are you still putting videos? I ain't seen one for a while. Dyson Fury, the salty dad and son. No, that's what the advertising
that's how they want to be known.
No, that's what they do. I bet you he says something.
There's a few things that would change. Misdirection as well. How do you manage misdirection? There's a few that kind of in the game that need looking at.
Wait, just one question on the side. Dyson Fury is the Northern Irish guys, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Going to the WTC. We have a minor at the WTC. He brings his son for the Northern Irish team.
Perfect. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. Because Rich, remember ages ago they asked if we had any choice on who we commentated on. You remember? This was going back way back when we first announced that we were going to WTC. Not good enough players.
I can't wait to do announcing. I'm so looking forward to it.
We've got practice.
We have got
practice.
We've got practice talking.
I've also given them strict instructions not to get drunk and be embarrassing, so it will be rude. So.
Okay, Dad.
Exactly.
Oh yes. Anyway, so Dyson.
Told you.
There you go.
You it was a see.
There you go.
They were good. Yeah, they're going to do it. So we'll maybe be commentating on the game. I don't know how much people want us commentating on the game, so be interesting.
I think we'll be just fine, mate. We will be just fine.
Our hot takes are like.
We could do a youngest versus eldest player fun match at the WTC.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
The Ox and Boiler match.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. It's good. It's good.
The oldest in Guild Ball, do you reckon? Grayscales, maybe? Is he probably the oldest?
Oh, I thought you were talking oldest player.
No, I'm saying player. I'm
the
son of Dyson Fury being 14 against, I don't know, the eldest guy that comes to the WTC.
I don't know.
Last year, didn't you do like
I have
Young
to
versus
find out.
Old or something in the evenings?
Yeah.
Was that last year?
Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone said that was good fun.
It will be 13, even better.
Oh, he will be 13.
Wow.
Strong.
It's really cool. He's quite a good
Good.
player. From watching the games, he's actually a good player.
Yeah, legit.
Kudos, yeah. He's really good.
Yeah. What teams are you guys taking for the WTC, or is that like breaking the fourth wall? Are we
that
not
might be
meant
That
to?
might be secret tech.
We'll find out in a minute.
Well, I'm bringing engineers with me.
Are you playing?
No, I'm going to play. I'm sure I can get a pickup game.
I wanted to play a game. We can have a game at the
Yeah, there you go. We'll have a game.
Yeah,
I'll
Then
bring them out.
Hold on. Then I can say I've played at the WTC.
Oh my God, Rich! I've got the best idea. We'll both play a game on the table we're commentating on. We'll both play top table at WTC.
Oh yeah!
Yes!
Morts and rat catchers. Really, rat catchers? You see them up there?
Rats are amazing. Rats are.
Don't know yet.
Yeah, rats are amazing.
The last game I played against rat catchers was at the WTC last year. It was against a guy from I think it was Belarus. And I was so drunk, I reverted back to teacher/community guy mode on Sunday morning that I told him in turn 2, if you do this move, I win in 2 activations. And he wouldn't believe me. And he did it. And I won in 2 activations.
Nice, I like it.
That was
I
sad.
like it.
But yeah, I'll definitely be packing a guild. We know which guild. So
Or you
we
just tell me what you want to play, and I'll bring one of mine. So you
I'll
don't
play.
have to
I'll
fly
play
them
against
around.
anything. I've got my alchemist solo.
Oh, got
Yeah.
Alchemist, so.
Yeah, this is it.
What?
It's all good.
I own 2 alchemist teams.
One is for sale.
I was waiting for that. Every live show, one more plug.
Yeah, Luke is
One
drastically trying
one
to sell his
careful owner.
alchemists.
Well, they're not as meta now, are they? Wanted to get there before the nerfs.
The nerves, yeah. So is Red Cat now useless? Is he? No, he's not. Is he?
But nothing changed in my quality of life for Alchemist. Absolutely nothing changed.
I haven't played against him yet, so yeah.
I basically I mainly play smoke, so I'm absolutely fine. I'm more than happy at the moment. Yeah. Well, we went to an event in Leeds, me and Rich did. And on the whole way there, I was like, no, I'm really going to give Summer a bash. I'm going to try and play solo all day. I'm going to... 5 rounds, I just played smoke all day.
To be fair, I played 5 rounds of Rivet.
Makes sense. She's just superior to all other captains in
I think
engineers.
even with the change
before the buffs, she was. Now I really, really want to try Pinvice.
Pinvice seems amazing.
Still complicated to play. She's high skill cap on Pinvice.
Really?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, much higher than Rivet. Move forward, drag things along, give out, hand out buffs, and be happy.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh, is everyone in danger? Oh, let's run over that way, and you're coming with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
is it a jog? The thing.
It is. Yeah. It is.
At least it's not a dodge.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's all good. It's all good. So anyway, influence.
The influence pool. What do we think about the influence pool? This is going all over the shop.
yes. I think
it will speed up the game.
Good. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think it will speed up the game because you'll always be able to do whatever you want to do, won't you?
Yeah.
Within reason.
Well, to be fair, if long gone are the days where you can deliberately kill a player who's got a full stack.
Yeah. or like load leave a captain on 1 health so they don't put an influence on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just, if you don't kill that captain, they can just go with the captain. And bringing in rule 4, that captain can come back on and still spend their influence.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, good
Brings us
segue,
over to
Dave.
rule 4.
Oh, good work, Dave. Good work,
Nice,
Dave.
well done. Well
Smooth. Yeah, what's our thoughts on that one? The put me back in coach.
I don't like it. I think taking out key models is an important part of the game, and I think it would diminish the strategic elements of the game if you can just run everyone back on.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair, to be honest. It doesn't, it is a huge part of the game of knowing the right time to kill a model.
It is
for that reason. But then, what do you do with Shark when he scores? Do you kill him first activation turn 2, so he can come back on with a full stack?
Yeah.
Do you to then come back on to wherever you've?
It might not even be a full stack. You might be able to allocate it as it goes.
Yeah. But then you can go, well, I've kicked the ball out to there from that. I've killed Shark, and he goes, brilliant! I'm coming on over there where the ball is.
Yeah,
and then activating as well, because you've just killed him in your activation, end your activation, and he then comes on, gets a free replace, and then activates for his second goal.
Then you trade in 8 for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It also makes the legendary from the Shepherds captain much stronger.
Oh God, yeah!
You go out, you come back half healed with a full stack next activation. Off you go.
Yeah.
Sure.
That would be horrible.
Yeah.
That's mean.
So just throwing that out there then. So everyone used to say that the cooks were made with season 3 in mind, and they were no good in season 4. So do we think that the Shepherds have been made with season 4.5 in mind?
I think it's going to be season 5. I think.
No, I think
Matt's post earlier alluded to a season 5.
That was, oh my God, that was so poorly covered up at the end of it. That comment at the bottom just cracked me up. He's like, I'm dealing with so many numbers at the minute. Who knows if it's 4 or 5? And I'm like, come on, mate.
Now then.
Now let's just put it there.
Come on, let's call a spade here.
Yeah.
So we're
Barry's got a good point there, Luke.
3-point goals, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all interconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rich did allude to it at the beginning of his entire talk.
Exactly. Like I said, I wanted to get it out there before we started bringing more up, that they need to be brought in together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what my thought is with that at the moment.
I really despise the idea of 3-point goals.
It winds me up when you kill someone and they go, I'm coming back on over here. You're like, off.
Well, on the other hand, it's also good for bruising teams because he comes on again and you can still take him out again. I mean, there's always this, how much do you gain from bringing a model back? I remember a number of games where I knew I would win or lose the game with the last 1 or 2 activations in the last round. The first 1 or 2 activations, so I put all my models into the furthest corner away and had them watch the rest of the game because there was no reason to run them on.
Or you bring them on behind your goal so they can get in the way of the goal and just stand there.
Basically, at that point, you're either going to win or you're going to lose without those players being involved. So they are just coming on.
Nowhere to hold them. Nowhere to hold them.
Oh, Rich.
Nothing wrong with it, Kenny Rogers.
Do you remember, was it season 2 or season 3 when you could elect not to bring them on? I went,
yes,
no, I'm not bringing. You could choose not to bring them on, and then they came back on the second Icy Sponge. When we had 2 Icy Sponge levels.
You also didn't get their influence.
Well, you didn't get your influence,
Yes.
I think to be fair, that's why that got dropped, because no one ever held a player off for a turn because you couldn't afford to live without that influence.
Yep.
So people just came on with really low health. And then Shank came over and killed them with 1 hit.
The 42-point
he's
trade
absolutely right. Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
So Barry, are you the roll better guys? Are you play tested these much? Because I'll be honest, we ain't done no testing.
We can't.
Nick Vassal.
Okay. I did have that idea. I did have that idea of setting a pitch up in Luke's back garden. And
Well, we might be able to now.
We walk away. So you walk away during that's not your turn.
Well, we might be able to.
Yeah.
Because it says one person. You can meet up with one person in the outdoors from outside your household.
There you go.
So you're not in my household, and I have an outdoors.
Yes, exactly. I also have an outdoors.
So I can tell you the reaction of the Austrian community when this was announced. The Austrian community was collectively, we couldn't be arsed. Nobody plays, nobody tests them. People are playing the game, but they're playing the game with the official rules, and all of this is just okay. We'll see.
Too much.
Yeah. And as you said, you need to take things.
Just to play devil's advocate, then, right? What if they brought all of these changes in because no one tested them thoroughly enough? Then everyone would be like, "Oh, I wish I'd have tested more."
Yeah, I think I suppose my point is when they did the last kind of proper one where they did guild identity and formation. We properly tested those and submitted everything saying how bad they were because we didn't want either of them coming in.
Remember the +1 condition damage on for Alchemist?
Yeah.
Here, take 4 damage at the end of this turn. Sure.
To be fair, it's one of those things where actually they play test something like that, and eventually part of it makes its way in. So the new game plan cards effectively are influenced by guild identities, and that your guild identity had a plus on your momentum or something.
Yeah. By the way, I will stop you right there for a very, very, very important and short thing, and I have to show you, and I won't say much about it, but there might be something for the WTC. And it's gone again.
Amazing.
There you go. sorry for
the commentary team.
I did the same thing. I've got my little GG ones now. I've almost got a complete custom thing now. I can literally list a lot of custom stuff. But I mean that's it. So it made it in to the game plans, and to some extent, those guild identities as well made it into the special rules for the minor guilds, really. It's that kind of thing that they had, and obviously formations were just too hard to make work because it punished too many people, or too many teams got punished by having to put themselves in weird positions. So I don't think that was ever going to work. But you can see how testing something maybe that gets an extreme reaction ends up finding a halfway house. There you go.
Yep, seen
there
them.
You go. Yeah,
that's right.
But I suppose my point is, it may well be that it's settled on nothing changes, but I think something either in the rules or the community has to change in order to get new stuff.
But I think it's been quite a good experiment because it shows the amount of response it's got, positive and negative. For people to take time to respond and do stuff, it shows you care about it. If people didn't care about the game, whether the fear of the game dying and that, if you didn't care, you'd be like, crack on, do whatever, I don't really care. Yeah. But the fact that this many people are coming forward going, well, no, please don't touch Arcane, please don't do this, it shows how much people care, and it shows how relevant Guild Ball still is.
I do think anyone who has an interest in Guild Ball and is potentially apathetic towards the field test needs to listen to the 2 singled out interviews that Matt Hart did, because the second one in particular is quite frank actually about where we are.
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't listened to him. So any hot takes, Dave?
Hot takes.
Hot takes. He needs an incentive to invest in Guild Ball, essentially. And he was very open about it in the second interview. That's where we are.
That what? So
I don't understand.
Really... Please, Dave, you explain, because I've got to be careful what I can and can't say this for.
I've got to try to remember what he said now.
Luke's telling the corporate line.
Listen to that. Listen to the second.
This has become GG and Steamforge. Steamforge Luke.
He basically said,
basically, I'm one of the champions. So
he basically said that as much as we all enjoy Guild Ball and it's his baby, him and Rich and the others that have been there from the beginning, eventually revenue counts, and if it's not making money, then they can't keep putting effort into it. And that's the kind of that's business 101, isn't it? I suppose. So what they're looking for is a change in the rules to bring more people in to buy the stuff, or a reinvigoration of it in some way. So I personally think let's go for it and see what we can.
Do you know a way to get a big cash injection that would do it? That you could do it like that.
Change the pitch size.
No,
Don't do that.
Fantastic.
No, bang out a new edition with a new rule book and sell a physical rule book. Get all the fluff.
Much money.
I was going to say, do they want money? Just put all the fluff in a book. People will buy
That's
it.
what I was going to say. Get all the fluff and make a book. So you do all the fluff in a book and you do an actual rule book. And sell the cards as well.
Also, I think
in that second interview, he also points out the fact that peripheral things like rule books and card sets don't make any money.
Yep, they don't.
I
think, models make money.
No, books don't make money. It's sad, but it's a gimmick. Under the bottom line is you have to sell miniatures, and in that lieu, I would say the thing they did with the New Cities draft, that was, I think, a strike of genius. That was lightning in the bottle, I think, because everybody was invested. People were playing. People were talking about and they didn't even bring out the model's rules when Ember was teased and all the farmers picked her up. Nobody knew how and if she were any good or if she would have a heroic or not, which everybody thought, but she doesn't. I think that is.
She would have if she made it back to Brewers.
But I think this was amazing because it engaged the community. There was a lot of hype. It got you a model for each team, which was like a whole holistic release, and everybody was excited. And I think they sold like hot potatoes.
Oh, it was amazing. It was such a good community event. And Barry's saying testify about the fluff thing. I must have. I'm with Roll Better. I love their podcast around the fluff. That they say they need to release more fluff. What's happened with the fluff of the game? So we've got all these new captains. We know nothing about them. Well, we know Boar. We don't know who they are. We don't know anything to do with the story. I know that everyone's really busy with everything else and that, but like a book of the tales of the Free Cities or something like that would sell. And not just the Guild Ball people, but then other people, if you advertise it in all like the right nerd places and stuff, people would go, oh, that's quite interesting. Oh, that's quite a cool looking game.
Oh, is this attached to a game? Yeah.
This is attached to a game. Here's a new starter set with, this cool story around between like the ox cutting off the Corsair's leg. Here they are. Here's the models. Look at him. He's got a peg leg. That's where Ox cut his leg off. It perpetuates that way. It goes. You've got the models in the game. You want to learn more about the rules.
I think they should do a story about the hero we all have. Lucky.
And that will be
Lucky.
I think they need to make a story of the Lucky story, and that's just money there. That's money in the bank.
Dave, thoughts on Lucky? The Lucky tale.
He's the best damage dealer in the butcher.
No, he's not. You often misquote me on Lucky, and I often have to correct you on it as well. He's just the best source of low momentous damage in the Brewers Guild, is what I said.
Especially in a world with no wraps.
In a world with no wraps, Lucky is king.
It's one. So cards might not make money, but having to print out and make your own is an extra step that can put people off. It's a pain in the ass. I ain't gonna lie. Hang on.
To be fair, even when you get the easy to print versions that are the right size,
I've had these sat here for ages. It's just the erratas and the shepherds. I ain't cut them out. Pain. If they went, here's an errata. Here's an errata pack. Couple even if it was a 10, I'd still buy it, because if it was an errata like that size, I'd buy it.
To be fair,
because I'm lazy.
Yeah, I'm lazy. If someone said, "Hey, Rich, you've got to print off 20 sheets of paper, of which you'll probably need 1 or 2 cards out of the 4 on each sheet, or chuck us a tenner and we'll post you some," I'm like, "Take my money."
Well, I think that's a technical dedication issue. If you look at Warhammer Hordes, they have constructible PDFs for all the unit cards, so you can just go in, select a faction, like I don't know, Protectorate, and say I need this Warcaster, this check, this solo, and this unit got changed, and it puts this onto one PDF, and you can print that. Much better.
That would be much.
But you need somebody with some coding experience and some time to actually do this.
So
exactly.
I suppose Steamforge would say that we have the app for that. That means you haven't got to buy the thing.
I hate that app.
I know you hate the app, but I'm just saying that's what they would say in response. That you don't have to faff around printing them
So
off. You don't have
what's the stance of the WTC when it comes to the app? Is it just use it as taste, or do you prefer people use cards?
The WTC will provide wireless and power at all tables.
Nice.
Very nice.
That's at least the goal. Just to working with the hotel to get this facilitated, because I think it would be preferable if you have a stable app, and there are 2 out there who are actually working to players be able to play the way they want to, and games can get long. So I think there should be power at your table. Just if you in the middle of the game you notice you have 13% left, don't scramble to find your power bank. Just plug it in and keep on playing. That will be the goal.
Awesome. That's awesome.
There are a lot of smallish things like this we try to improve.
Oh yeah, but to be fair, it's the small details that really make an event.
Bill is right. Long checks had a single card, and that's what all my errata cards are off. But it's more the fact that I can. It's me being lazy. I've got to now cut all them out, do it, and do everything. If someone went, "Here, Luke, it's a tenner, 12 quid if you want them sleeved and sent in sleeves, 13 quid if you want me to bin your old cards," I would go with that.
Guys, give me 2 minutes. I'll be back.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I'm really regretting getting rid of my old cards because I've kind of got a bit nostalgic for playing a bit of Season 1, Season 2.
Well, I've for the Roll Better competition. You see my entry.
Yeah,
it was Friday.
Season 1 Mardus.
Friday.
Oh yeah, sorry, I did see it. Yeah.
Apparently, they were. I don't think I'm gonna win.
Well, yeah, just kind of I don't know. In the end, I found a PDF of the old Season 1 rulebook. I've got access to those cards now. I've got Season 1, Season 2 rulebooks, but obviously
I've got Season 2 upstairs. Season 2 upstairs.
I sold 1 and 2. I sold Season 1 and 2. I got Season 3 as an old rulebook.
I love the rulebooks for the stories. They were just so good.
Yeah.
Remember when that weekend, Rich, when the Season 3 we're talking, and then we were messaging each other going, "Yeah, I didn't do it by email, Barry. I just did it on Gubs." Basically, it's just the Season 1 Midas.
It's just Season 1 Midas card, yeah.
With me face. Changing the word to Fridas and put like a grinning emoji over his face.
So I have one question to you guys. How sad is it that Steamforged actually struck a model from the game in moving between editions? Everybody's thinking, which model got struck from the game?
Oh, that is a very good question.
What model got struck from the game?
We're looking like amateurs now.
Oh, come on. It's not that hard. I'll give you a hint. It was a captain.
A captain got removed from the game? As in from the story or from the actual...
No, from the game. From the game. I even have the card over there still. The original card.
Captain.
Do you want me to catch it for you guys?
Yeah!
Yeah.
Hang on.
Am I a captain that got...
A captain got removed from the game?
Veteran Captain Salt, is it?
Yes!
No.
Yes!
Oh,
yes,
for God's sake! Hang on.
Long may he rot in hell.
I can do one better.
You can do one better. Now I'm curious.
Someone gave me this years ago.
A base.
Still in the blister.
What is it? It's
Captain
Captain
Salt.
Yeah, I got him over there as well. Yeah.
We aren't fans, to be fair.
No, gone.
Sorry for tricking you.
It was a
Mascot
very
skill.
that was a very polarizing model.
I'm
Was
often
it
curious
really?
how well that sold, to be fair.
Well, I got
I
given that.
I think it was sold enormously well. Wasn't there a comment on YouTube where they had like thousands of orders for that one, and they had to basically commit?
Yes, but I think there was an equal amount of people that didn't like it.
On the plus side, it was never official.
Oh yeah, good
never
point.
was,
Though.
yeah.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Oh, but anyways, so
I'd love more captains. Getting second captain for minor guilds would be really good, I think.
Yeah, I'm
Don't
with
you
you.
think?
I can see that.
Do you think a third mascot's coming?
Third mascot. I'd rather have a round of secondary captain and mascots for the minor guilds.
Yes.
And all the minor guilds are set up so it can happen, because if you look at order, when blah 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 is captain on the pitch, they get the ball of light. So
yes,
yeah,
I agree.
play without one. Same for hunters. If she's the captain, you get what's the ability?
Cheaper Harriers.
Yes, Harriers.
Yeah.
Yes, Harriers cheaper by 1. So
they have set up for it, but in theory, they wrote that for the playdowns, didn't they? Really?
Yeah.
Because I got excited when they saw that. I was like, "Oh yeah, new captains."
You know what we need? We need lamplighters. We need actually, before we start talking about third mascots and that, they need to finish off the minor guilds.
I don't think that. I don't think they will happen sort of in a staggered approach. I think we'll get one, and then the minors will still continue in the same sort of thread that they are, like one every 6 months.
Yeah. To be honest, then if they can carry on with the quality of the current models, they're amazing. Can't fault the new models; they are beautiful.
Yeah.
I've got no qualms whatsoever. And to be honest, since I've sorted out the resin, no real issue. Everything they've said that they're going to deliver, they've delivered. Nothing's been late. Everything's on time, and the quality is on point.
See, the thing is, if Steamforge are going to try and concentrate mainly on the revenue sort of accruing streams, I think you'll see a lot more like the re-releasing of the existing teams rather than the newer teams.
Yeah,
because like the Butchers looked really nice when they got re-released.
I don't know how much of that translates through to sales. I suppose versus a new team. I feel like a new team would sell better than a re-release.
I agree, but there's more work into making all the new rules.
Yeah, there is.
And all the hours in play testing and things like that. Whereas you don't have all that with just going, hey, let's change 2 models in that 6-man box and release them in resin.
Also, I know that we're going to see the Lamplighters before we're going to see the Entertainers. I fear that they have designed themselves into a corner with the Entertainers.
Yeah. Do you think they've bitten off more than they can chew?
Yes, I think it's very hard to do comedy right, so people don't get offended, and it's still fun to look at. And you have to do 6 models, and each and every one of them has to be a captain, and you have to have a fun twist on that captain. That's really hard. That's really hard.
Well, I really like an effect on. No, but the Blackheart one had quite a thing of guys going
Kid Blackheart.
Kid Blackheart.
They look great. The Shark one is amazing.
I love the Shark.
Really befuddled by it, but I think it's hard to come up with 6 captain ideas, players, and then you get into all kinds of troubles. Who's your mascot?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I agree.
So
Midas.
It'd be in every 6.
Drunk Corker.
Guild.
Cool.
But you know what I mean. I think the Lamplighters are much more straightforward. Totally. You can design them, you can release them, you can make rules, and you don't have to. You know, if you're having a Shark knockoff player, you want this one to have Shark-like abilities, but not be Shark. So if you talk about baby Blackheart, how is he working? And I think it's really hard.
It's like they've all
Simon
got.
is-
It's going to like have a team with like 6 different play styles within a team,
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's true.
and then work together so they're not one useless or two broken.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be the difficulty by going, oh, we've got this one, this Butcher's one who's like amazing at taking people out and buffing all the damage on everyone. Then we've got this Shark one who's amazing at short scoring goals and everything.
Yeah.
Then we've got Blackheart who can do everything.
And they don't interact. So
Yeah.
Maybe they're all 1/6 influence, and then so effectively you can super solo with one of them a turn.
1/6.
great. So much fun. This is how Infinity did it in the first
Oh.
edition. And that was horrible.
Infinity is still horrible.
Dave's looking into getting into Infinity, ain't you?
I bought into Infinity, N2 and then into N3, and it's just I don't like all the reactions, and then the fire teams, and you had to have certain fire teams in order to be competitive. It was that kind of thing. It was, and like, you know, Camo had like one rule at one level, and then the rule completely changed at level 3. Well, why? Just make it stacking an ability or something. It just seemed overly complicated.
It still
beautiful
is.
models, an absolute pain to put together, and then the rules were just so deep that it's like you basically have to be your only game in order to really enjoy Infinity.
It is, yeah.
So for me, I saw Code One, and I thought, oh, I still love the models, so I'll have a little watch of some videos. But I still think I like Malifaux and I like Guild Ball. And I like a lot of skirmish games, and there's a lot of skirmish games out there that have got models just as nice, that are easier to get into. So I think Infinity's kind of the boat sailed, I think, sadly for me, because I would love to be able to play with those minis.
Barry's a big Infinity fan. Barry, don't you buy every game?
Barry. Barry's not going to be a big fan of me then.
Barry, tell us a game you don't like. Yeah, give us a game you don't like.
Guild Ball Season 5.
Oh!
Dave!
He doesn't like any of the rules. So.
Dave! This is sponsored by Steamforged.
Also, there is one big fear next to the Corona thing, is that they might come up with, you know, a rather odd patch close to the WTC. And that is something that I've actually started to prepare a blog post about. By the way, shout out to Sam from Longshanks. He's been treating me really well with you know, the updates there and the blog and so on and so forth. And I might do the thing and just say, guys, if there is a massive rule change, we will have to talk to the captains and find out if people want to play with or without the rules change, because if they bring it out like 2 weeks prior to the WTC, nobody can be prepared, and then the Germans win.
To be honest, I would hope they would come to you and basically say, "Look, we're not going to drop this so close to WTC because
I've been in contact with them, and they have been very supportive, but they've also been very reserved about communication. We had a similar conversation prior, because at our GG Masters we're looking at doing a snake draft, and we kind of asked them and said, "Are we able, like we are? It's like 2 weeks before the event. Are we safe to print out one of every single card, cut them out, and put them into sleeves prior to it?" And they were very like, they wouldn't give us an answer, which is fair, because
but I'd have thought with WTC being such a massive thing on the Guild Ball calendar that they would basically go, let's just wait till the weekend after.
Well, no, they don't. They released the captains before Vengeance, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Remember?
So if just to give you some context, they are aware, but they have also decided not to have any presence at the tournament. No presence whatsoever. So
really?
There will not be, and most people know that because I've been talking about this for quite some time now. They are not going to come with a Steamforged team anymore. They're going to split up to various British, English, Welsh, Scottish teams. There's not going to be a store. There's no official support. There is basically for them, the WTC officially is like any 16-man tournament in the basement of someone. That's it, basically. So On the other hand, they have been very communicative. They have put me in contact with Ross, who then forwarded me to another British guy who did the Lawrence, who did the miniature for us. They will help us with the print master that is going to go to the company who's going to produce the stuff. So they have been very supportive, but there has not been any official contact between tournament-wise between the WTC team and Steamforged, and that's all right. It's their right. I'd love to have them there as Steamforged, but yeah, I won't, which is okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit shocking because it's like a huge boon for the game, the WTC. It's like the World Cup.
It's true. It's true.
Yes.
To be honest, it's one of the only times that I'll watch live Guild Ball.
You don't watch Vengeance or British Nationals?
I'm normally at Vengeance.
I haven't gone back.
So you won't watch the WTC anymore, right?
No, you won't be watching WTC.
No, I'll be. Of course, I'll be watching it. I'll be commentating on it.
You're right.
Rich's hot takes.
No. This is what I'm getting at. Sort of last year, I talk about this on the channel all the time. I don't like watching myself play. I think it's very strange. But when WTC was on last year, I was watching the games because I find it enjoyable watching other people. So I will watch other people's Guild Ball games. But I usually fit it around my schedule, so I don't normally watch live stuff. But the WTC is I always take the time to at least watch 1 or 2 games live because I think
I enjoy watching them live, like the British Nationals, everything like that. I enjoy watching live Guild Ball.
Yeah. No, that's it. But like I said, the WTC for me is the one time that I make the exception and watch it live.
Makes sense. And this is why I hope that streaming will go smoothly this year.
Oh, I will.
I know a lot of sweet. I hired a team. I don't know them, but it might be good.
Bring a bleep machine, you'll be all right.
Dave, I ain't been
minute delay.
I haven't been.
Hold on. Dave, we haven't dropped one single swear word this entire stream.
Yeah, well, what, an hour and a half in? That's almost like a random Guild Ball.
How many drinks have you both had?
0.
I'm still drinking water. I'm sorry.
I'm on coke.
I'm not. I got my Tiger King cup.
No.
Has everyone watched Tiger King? It's amazing.
No, I've actively avoided it.
It's good.
Every time someone talks about it, they say some outlandish thing that happens in it, and I think I've got to go and watch that. And then I think I've got better things to do in my life than watch.
No, you haven't, Dave. You haven't, Dave. You spent the last week messing around with a computer with an ancient keyboard. You haven't got better things to do. Tiger King, you can.
Talking about the streaming efforts over the last WTCs, I was actually quite surprised that most of the games are lost.
Yeah.
Because even those who got streamed or recorded, for example, last WTC had all 3, top tables recorded, and there are like 6 games uploaded to YouTube. So most of the games just went away, which was really a shame because there were some really fantastic games.
Yeah. So our thought is obviously we'll have the one that will be commentated on.
Yep.
Then have the other 2 going and recording, and then realistically we'll have the players mic'd up, and then just upload those ones as is. Otherwise, it'd be a case of us going back, watching them all, and for some going us to then record and commentate 12 games retrospectively.
You're actually wrong. It would be 18 games, but
18.
It's 6 rounds, 3 tables.
3 tables, yeah.
No. What I meant.
12 additional, yes.
Yeah, 12 additional. So we do this normal. We
That
might do.
horrible.
Yeah, I mean,
you might want to do the finals because that might be worth it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
To be fair,
see how Germany 1 gets on.
Yeah, we'll record all of them, and we'll prioritise the finals basically.
Yeah.
There's a fun fact on the site. I had another sign up for singular players who wanted to join the UN teams or go for mercenaries, and I actually had there are 4 German teams at the WTC, and I had another 3 guys sign up for single German guys sign up, and I was really tempted to make it UN 2. Just German guys, and then have them beat other German guys.
So is it still true that the guys from the German teams disappear off the weekend before to go and get some intensive training in, right?
Yes, to make it Timmy proof.
Will the UN team be invited to that training session?
There won't be a German UN team. I've made a very. I sent out the teams to them just 2 days ago, and we have completely split them up. So there's always one German and 2 guys from other nations, just to be sure that there's nothing going on like this. But yeah, the Germans actually do this. They have always also been doing this for War Machine Hordes. They call it Kellern, which means locking yourself away in the basement, basically.
Aren't we all doing that in a minute?
Yes, pretty much. Kellern, yeah, because Keller is basement in German. And the Austrian teams for War Machine Hordes did this last year with the Germans, I think for 2 weeks, something like this.
Oh, wow.
And they played between, and I could be wrong, 4 and 8 games of War Machine Hordes a day for 2 weeks. Yeah, exactly. Silence.
That's a lot.
And this is why, because they know all the matchups. They have been preparing for all the matchups. All the it's all the teams. You know how you're drafting against them because you had enough time to walk through every single draft multiple times and figure out what would be the best idea to solve it.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's why you're the best.
Commitment. That's why they're the best.
Yeah.
I think it's all right. If you really want to win, just do something like this. I mean, nobody's stopping you. Maybe family, friends, job.
I was going to say, it being a hobby, that's the difference between a person who sees it as a hobby and a person who wants to do well in it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because at some point during that week or 2 weeks, it has to just become unfun to play War Machines or Guild Ball. I don't think I could cope with that much in such a short space of time.
If you're playing your 10th game against Vet Cats just to figure out what's the perfect activation in round 3, you're not having fun anymore. You're just exercising.
Yeah.
It's true.
But yeah,
it's very true.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah. So
do they do it local to the venue? Like, do they do it in the country that they're in, or do they stay?
You think they're acclimatizing?
I don't know. Rocky went and ran up a mountain in Russia.
That's true. I don't think Rocky will play at the WTC. But so the Austrians went to a other small Belgium village to play there last year. So they only had a train ride along the shore line to get to the WTC. So I guess maybe I've not been in contact with them. On the other hand, Germany and Austria are so close. There are ICEs running from, bullet trains running from every major German city to Vienna with 1 or 2, layovers. So I don't think they will have. They are very in. There's no big incentive to come to Austria for this. They will do it most likely in Germany and then come quick.
That's just crazy, isn't it? That they book like a place to go in, like a villa or something, and go.
To be fair, chilling in a Belgian little Belgian town would be amazing for like a week.
Yeah,
they're not seeing it. Drinking large amounts of alcohol while playing as well. To be fair, so it was basically going away for 2 weeks on a holiday and just playing a lot of Guild Ball while you're there.
That was actually a fun conversation with the hotel, by the way. I told them that they cannot close the bar, and they were kind of surprised. What do you mean not closing the bar?
To be fair, at the GG Masters last year, they sold out of ale in the first day.
If they do that, I would be mighty mad.
We drank them out of even the stuff they couldn't sell.
Good.
So it's a chain of hotels that we have the GG Masters in, and I think on the Saturday the numbers were coming in. Head office called the hotel pub, and asked what was going on in this weekend. They thought there was a big money laundering thing.
They thought they were embezzling money
because it was a random weekend in November. We sold out the whole hotel, and they were like up like £2,000 profit in the first day or something stupid like that than they normally would. They were like, "God, you nerds can drink." We're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, they were like, what sort of nerds do you think we were? So they called round to all of the local pubs and basically go, have you got any of this? We need
Got
it
any
for
IPA?
tonight.
Does it contain alcohol? Yes, bring it over.
Yes.
So it was.
So,
Yeah,
this year they've gone to us. When you run GG Masters, tell us what they drink, and we will stockpile.
They said we now know what we're in for. We thought because normally we do like our one-day events there in the big function room, and obviously with people driving and traveling, they're not really drinking. But then like people are there for a whole weekend, they're like, yes, we are drinking. So that's what it was. I mean, I only had 3 on Saturday.
You had 3 in your hand.
Were Luke drinking from about 10 o'clock in the morning.
You had 3 in your hand on by 11 o'clock on Saturday morning.
It was my holiday.
Running a tournament.
I wouldn't mind,
It's your holiday.
I wouldn't mind, but half of that dark fruits went down your shoes.
But let's be honest, if you're going to such a tournament and you're not seeking to have a good time, and if having a good time includes having some beers, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
If you're like, I talked to one of the guys who was playing for England at the War Machine Hordes WTC, good friend of mine, Simon, and he said, yep, after day 1, we had won all 3, had matchups. We went to our rooms, we had a tea, we had an apple, and we went to bed at 10 p.m. And I was like,
what country were they?
England won. England Lions.
England Lions.
So I can understand the tea bit.
I can understand the tea.
Yes, I understand the tea as well. I like tea, but you still want to get mad drunk.
I was expecting that story to go along. They went back to the rooms, had a nice cup of tea and an apple, and then went out and got smashed.
And then went out and
it's what I expected that story to end.
So I'll apologise for Luke now. When we come over, he will just be drinking girl cider. He won't be drinking any of your amazing local beers.
Load him up on Scrumpy. Just bring like 3 bottles of Scrumpy and dump him full of Scrumpy on day 1.
I could treat you to some fantastic Austrian cider if you like. There is a very small local cider brewery. I don't know how to say it. And he does orange and citrus fruit cider. And the fruits he actually gets from the Palm House in Vienna. So the Palm House was a royal thing where they grew orangeades and all this kind of citrus fruits back in the 1800s, and it still remains as a tourist attraction, but they have all the fruits and they can't sell them, so he got them for free and he's making cider out of them, and it's a fantastic
strong
cider.
Oh,
it's really good. I'll get you a crate.
Yes.
That'll do day 1.
Sure.
No.
Friday evening.
11:30 in the morning. Luke spilled half of it all
evening.
over his shoes. This amazing Austrian cider. He's just like, tipped it all over his shoes.
Dave's gonna be calling us up between rounds. What are you on now?
I can't bring myself to watch live. I just can't. I can't face it.
It's
That's it.
I'll have the kids.
I've been watching. I'm on the next flight. You're coming home. Drag us out, boy.
I completely forgot. When are you guys flying in? I booked it and I don't remember.
Was it we're flying on the Thursday and we're coming back on the Tuesday?
Yeah, right.
Or
Something like this. Yeah.
It sounds like that.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. You booked it.
Yeah. It was, first of all, it was cheaper for you guys to come in on a Thursday and fly out on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because Friday to Sunday flights are just more expensive, obviously. Yeah. And you get 2 more days to spend in Austria.
Yes, definitely.
Good call.
Yeah,
I think.
Oh,
Yep.
100%. I've never been before, so it'll be nice to see Vienna.
Yes.
Shame I can't ski.
Non-lockdown Vienna.
Yeah. Shame I can't ski.
I didn't understand that.
Skiing. They do loads of skiing.
No, there's no skiing. There's no skiing in that part of Austria at that time. You can stand on skis while we stand around you having a beer and laughing.
When can you ski in Austria? I don't.
You can ski all year long, but Vienna and also the Semmering are on the eastern fringes of the Alps. So the skiing season starts in December in the hotel that will be for the WTC. This is also why this is basically the sweet spot time for that hotel, because usually they're closed in October for refurbishments. So They're basically opening up for the weekend. This is also why it was that easy to get a replacement weekend in March, because with March their season ends, and they would close down again for refurbishments. So when I asked them if we really have to move this, where can we move it to? And they said same contract, 3 months later. That's it.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the idea.
Sounds good. Take that in your stereotypes, Luke.
What?
And skiing in Austria, all year long, you can do it in Central Alps. So you'd have to go to Tyrol or Salzburg. These areas have glaciers where you can ski all year long. But glacier skiing isn't that well received anymore because we're losing them because of global warming.
Oh God.
So, yeah,
it's true.
Going away. Sad days.
I just heard Alps and we're near the Alps in Austria, and I thought, skiing.
Luke's already packed his snowshoes and his goggles.
I've got my long shorts.
That must be the same stereotype as saying, "Oh yeah, you're British. You must have a ship at home
and eat fish and chips every night."
And eat fish and chips every night. Yeah.
I do eat a lot of fish and chips.
And drink tea and go to bed at 10.
We do drink a lot of tea.
I don't drink tea.
I don't drink tea.
I don't like it. I drink coffee. Well, you see how much coffee I drink, Rich.
Yeah. With his almond milk.
I was going to make a joke about that, and then I thought, no.
Don't need to. My tablets are here. I've got my tablets. back on the dairy.
Well, is one of you guys a vegan because of almond milk or not? No.
No, basically,
no.
I can't have dairy, but I've got these tablets.
Luke lost 2 stone when he couldn't eat dairy anymore.
3 stone it was. I lost 3 stone. I weren't allowed to have dairy, so I lost 3 stone. Turns out I eat a lot of cheese. I eat a lot of cheese and chocolate.
Great.
Anyway.
What's
Section 4.
What's 4?
Have we done? What rules have we done?
There's one more. No, we're at test 5, aren't we? 5.
We're number 5.
We covered
4 was put me back in, coach.
So we covered that as number 1.
Oh, well, we've done. Okay, so what we got left?
Goals for 3 VPs.
Goals for 3 VPs.
It's a bad idea. Let's leave it there.
Come.
Yes.
Unless they make goal scoring easier. So effectively, if they bring in that put me back in coach and make tackling easier by restricting crowd outs and things like that, then reducing the VPs is a logical step because those 3 things in conjunction mean that goal scoring is easier.
Just a bit of a sidestep then, as a point. So if crowd outs and gang ups are reduced and capped to +1 or -1, right? Are we going to limit the target number that changes for kicking while we're engaged or kicking to a model that's engaged? Because that feels like it should go hand in hand.
Good question. Yeah, why not? Also,
in theory, at the minute, no, because it's not been explicitly said like that in the field test. So the 5 rules they're testing don't include that. But I think that would be a logical step going forward as a further enhancement of those potential.
Exactly. This is it.
Have we? Have you guys done? Henry K done the quiz? Not a quiz, like a
quiz.
Yeah, the survey.
Not a quiz, a survey.
The Henry K pub quiz.
I love a pub quiz.
I looked through it but didn't fill it in.
I filled in the first one. I'm yet to fill in the second one because it's a lot longer.
There's a second one?
Yeah, he put the second one up the other day.
Only recently, that's a couple of days ago, I think. Last couple of days.
Yeah. So basically...
It's a refinement from number 1. So he's taking number 1 and he's expanding out those questions or the ones that generated the most polarising...
So interestingly, just before we went live, Matt Hart put a post up on Gubs talking about Henry's quiz that he's had 235 respondents, which is pretty good from a data point of view. So there's a few statements here, and then if we talk about statements and whether we agree or disagree with them, is that Is that a thing that could be interesting? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Legit. Right. So most people feel the game difficulty is fine and that demos are fun and interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. Dave, do you disagree?
I don't disagree enough to have an argument about it. I haven't had a demo, obviously, for a long time. Yeah. As much as anytime you demo a game, I just think it's not as fun as playing for real. But that's just the nature of any game when you demo.
No, I think if you're doing the demoing, it's not fun. But if you're receiving the demo, the whole idea is for it to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might just be. I'd rather pick up the game, have read the rules, and then play with somebody, and both of us learn together rather than have a demo. And that's probably just me. That's a personal opinion at that point. Not
true, but then that's bringing your mate into a game. So if it's a game you love and you want a friend of yours to play it, you're going to have to do a demo.
Yeah, and you probably will. And at that point, I probably will speak. I mean, I've done it. I've done it with Guild Ball. I speak with enthusiasm, but I'm normally playing a 6-person game, and we're just like, you can do this.
Sorry, carry on.
And at this point, we have to come back to the fact that there is no kicking off box that has active rules or current rules in it, which we had 2 new players in Austria who just picked up the box and started to love the game, searched for a community, came in with a rules question, and everybody was like, you're playing...
You're playing such an old version.
You're playing season 2.
Yes, please look at this. And luckily they stayed and they still love the game, but that can go wrong.
It's a sticking point.
And this is they've talked about this as well, about what would you want in a kickoff box or whatever. But going back to Infinity, as much as Infinity itself is a vastly complicated game and has a lot of elaborate rule systems, the reality is you shouldn't put anything in a rule book that can become out of date. It should just be build you up. And then the last link probably is download the full rule book to get all your rules.
Marvel Crisis Protocol do it. The box set has enough in there to get you started playing the game.
Yeah.
If you want all your extra rules, here's a website, get them for free. Simple.
To be fair, since me and Amy, we're on game 5 now, and we played the first 3 with the rules that came in the box. It was amazing. We then looked at the rules online. And there's only 2 or 3 extra tweaks. It's not a massive difference. So
the
intro game I gave you, Rich, was just out the rules in the box, weren't it?
Yeah,
and we had a blast.
This is it. And we did have a blast. And like I said, we're on game 5 now, and we're still loving the game.
That's the point. I mean, Guild Ball in and of itself isn't a complicated game. The rules wise, there's a few finicky things involved in influence allocation, stuff like that. But actually, there's a core set of rules. It's not massive. It's just those extra refinements.
Right.
So if you had a core basic set of rules that said this is how you allocate influence, this is how you spend influence, off you go.
Yeah, you do
play a 3v3, then bring in a captain, then bring in a mascot, then bring in your extra player.
To be honest, right, how much of a turn off would it be for new players if they took the existing kickoff box, right? Took out all the rules, took out all the cards, left the measuring sticks, the widgets, etc., put a slip of paper in there, basically going, here, go to this website. There's a how-to video on how to play.
Would work.
Exactly.
Smith, is it Rodney Smith from Watch It Played or something like that? I think he's the one for Guild Ball, isn't he?
This is it. Just put a link to the most recent run through of the game, and then off you go. You're away.
Steamforged resources. That's where you have to go.
They just have to sack it. I'd do a Glory Goals one. Think of the
I knew that was coming.
Think of the hits we would get.
Oh, we'd always get at least one rule wrong though.
That's fine. No, but think of the hits we would get if one of our videos was in the starter box saying, "Look, go here. This will teach you how to play." Done.
That one might even actually be an idea to just play a game with the starter models and say, this is how you play your first game.
Exactly.
This is where you start. To be honest, they did that with God Tier. They did all of the introductory games of step by step how you play a game of God Tier.
Yep.
They just never did that for Guild Ball, I reckon.
This is it. So I think rather than going through all of this, if you wanted to make it easier for a new player, you basically go, right, here are 3 players. This is the step. This is your allocating. Okay, take it with a pinch of salt. This is your allocating influence phase. This is your activation phase. Start again.
Yeah.
And it would be so much easier.
It's the iterative nature of how the company has evolved. In that, I mean, you see it in various ways. I often make point around God tier. They've specifically brought in champion rotation because they kind of regret the fact that they didn't put that into Guild Ball. So they learn as they go along. So in theory, if you think if they did do another box now, starter box for Guild Ball, they would draw on the experience they've got with God tier, and it would be something similar. And this is, in theory, again, I kind of come back to it. This is generating hype or demand for the supply.
I still think that Guild Ball also needs a active future roster where you take I don't know how many models are in a full team now. 15.
15, I think.
Yeah, it's 16, isn't it? It's escalated.
So you take, let's say, 13 and put them onto ADR and say that's the team for this year, whatever.
They should do. I think it's because of the fact that obviously they kickstarted it before they were even a company, and they didn't put it in then, and then ever since then they've kind of not wanted to because they don't want to stop people playing with their toys. And that's always been the comment that's been made. But I think there is an argument to say if something is so bad, you need to rotate it out. Or if you're going to have 3 captains, because the fact that by its nature that encourages power creep, in that the third captain has to be better than the other 2 in order to be worthy of being picked, then actually have 2 captains are eligible per season and rotate captains.
Sorry.
Unless it's Morn.
Yeah. So, so throw it out there then. When it comes round to balancing the captains, Steamforge clearly look on Longshanks and go, hey, this captain has this percentage win rate. Okay.
Fine. Yep.
No, I think it's a fantastic system. I'm thinking, why can't they expand it? So if you go to an event, you put it at the end of the event after your 6th game, you go, right, this is my 10, and then you put a number against how many games each player played, right? Then that will give Steamforge an indication of which characters are always getting picked, which ones are clearly above the power level.
I think that, and I've talked to Sam about this for Longshanks, that it would be nice to be able to fill the 12/8 players on the roster for the tournament into your tournament listing. I mean, it would be a lot of extra tables and extra data. Makes it very complicated to manage.
As a TO.
Also as a TO, but it would just skyrocket all the data we'd have about the game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Exactly. And it would then lead to better balancing of the game in general.
See, you could even do it with. I still think a lot of the time of when you're doing your game, you putting your 6 for each game in would be really good. You're like, well, hang on, every time this team comes against Engineers, this 6 is
always crops up. 100%. Yeah, I agree.
Because captain's great, like with receiving and stuff like that, and the information you get from that. But like, it doesn't tell the whole picture.
No, I agree.
But it's a lot more. It's a lot more detailed than any other game systems, I think, in terms of data and stuff like that. Maybe, I can't think of another game that's got that kind of level of information and stuff.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Maybe some of them, like Age of Sigmar with what's it called? AOS reminders. They're starting to get the data off that from when someone builds a list on AOS reminders. It stores that list on the system, so then the guy who does it, he can then pull up all the data and go, this list has been created so many times. This list has been created so many times, and people have made them and printed them.
It's not that accessible. The great thing about Longshanks is everybody can go in, filter since the last patch, and see who's the strongest captain.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like anyone can get that information.
Yep, and I think it's a wonderful resource.
It's an amazing resource, and as a TO, made life infinitely easier than messing around with spreadsheets.
100%. 100%.
Like, to think, like, you're going back to any other system that you've done tournaments and that. Have you ever known a TO to be walking around a room with the phone and just doing, I'm just doing all the things on my phone, and just go, what's your result? What's your result? And just going, next round's up, go. It's such a fantastic resource.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not even, you don't even have to announce or shout or anything. It even worked for the WTC. Just, next round's up, everybody got out the phone, worked like in a small tournament.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Exactly.
It's such an amazing, for a community thing. There should be like a community heroes thing like they do in other games.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? When they do like hobby heroes or whatever it's called or something like that, because I think the work that he does, he should be paid by Steam Forges or something for that work.
This is what you guys at Glory Goals have to do. You have to fly to the community heroes now and visit them and do interviews and make it very, with a 360 camera rotating guys and the drone shot from his home and all of this kind of stuff.
It's a fine line between like acknowledging someone's work and stalking. It's a real fine line, but you got to be on the right side. So that's the first point.
So
we've got like 20 of these.
Oh, what? Really?
Well, there's loads. We literally said the game's fine and demos are fun and interesting. It got us into stalking down from Longshank. So
to be fair, earlier we started talking about Blood Bowl and it ended with you in a cottage.
Me in a cottage on a church trip with naughty boys. So, unsurprisingly, all ways / modes of play, casual or competitive, are deemed to be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, that one was quick.
Yeah, we all know this, but it's important how to implement it in the rule set. Ideally, but playing on the clock is widely recognised as essential to avoid long, slow games.
Unless we would still be playing our first game with Dave if we weren't on clock.
Oh, I think the 100 odd videos that we've done prove that I can play on clock and it not take forever.
I think clock is extremely important, even for new players. Just have the clock next to the table, run it, and at one point where you see the games is becoming a proper game, and one player, mostly the guy who's less experienced with the clock, is running out of time to say, okay, let's disregard the clock at this point because obviously you would lose via clock now, but learn, and there is a clock. You did the right decisions, but you have to speed them up. People have to get a feel for the clock.
To be honest, to expand on that, I think new players tend to forget to knock the clock over as well.
I still forget to do that.
Dave forgets to knock it over, and then he moans at me. When you're playing against me, you're like, "Oh, I've had the clock on me for ages." I'm like, "Well, sorry, it's your clock to manage."
the worst one then is like, "Yeah, that's cool. You can do your next activation on my clock," and you're like, "Oh, I'm just going to move my mascot over there."
The amount of games I've probably clocked out where I didn't actually deserve to clock out is unreal.
Oh, you deserve to clock out on all your games, Dave.
Anyway.
Next.
Anyway,
oh God, yeah. Sorry.
Next question.
Every time he picks up a miniatures for Age of Sigmar, we force him into the next question.
I think we should do that. Let's just expand on that.
Took me an hour and 40 minutes to eat my dinner.
It was strongly felt that mistakes and bad matchups are both simply too punishing overall.
I agree.
I wouldn't say a bad matchup, mate. Well, actually, yeah, I probably would.
I strongly disagree because, and this might be the Austrian / German in me. You only grow if you make those mistakes. You only learn if you feel the pain. If you activate your captain first for the I don't know 20th time and don't score because you couldn't. You just make this mistake again and again, and you don't get punished for it. You don't stop making the mistake. You don't improve as a player.
Oh no, I completely agree with you on that point. I'm in the camp of there are very distinct lines between guilds that basically go, if you're using this guild into this guild, you've just had your difficulty ramped up to 11.
That's true. That is not great. Yeah.
There's games that no matter how good you are, your guild does not have the tools to deal with what's coming at you.
Yeah, like nabs into blacksmiths.
Well, old nabs into resilient brewers.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, you remember that?
There's just some games that your
There's
guild
so
is not
many
right
where-
for.
Yeah, we like.
The cynical man would say farmers don't have any bad matchups, but I'm going to leave that one there.
They did, but then
But that's not my business.
Them off.
That's not my business.
Do farmers have a bad matchup?
Farmers have bad matchups. Next.
I mean,
moving swiftly on.
Well, Alchemists, the only real bad matchup is farmers, I think.
Yeah.
Because your health pools are too high. You got the and your condition clear. Peck.
Condition, yeah.
Peck shouldn't be a thing.
The Lord of Conditions, Peck.
I must admit, I was going to say, maybe I can bring it back to the original question. I remember my mistakes more than I remember kind of amazing things that I did or things that I pulled off. And they always make you learn. You always, you will always learn from them. But they do. I suppose there is a fine line between having it be meaningful enough, but being the kind of the one thing that a game turns on is probably a bit too extreme a punishment.
If I coined it slightly different by saying, like, you could include in a mistake, like a missed goal, a fluffed, a spiky counter attack, like a mistake or something like that, that could change the outcome of the game. Is that like, how many times have you gone, well, I missed a 4 dice shot and then the whole game changed from that point, kind of thing?
Yeah, I lost 12-8, but one of that included missing a goal that I should have scored. And then there's an argument to say, would you have had the opportunity for the third goal? You don't really know if that's going to be the difference.
But like
or not,
sometimes you can go, like the amount of times we say you go of like missed a goal. Like perfect example. When I played Dave Cameron at London, he's a supremely better player than me in every fashion of the word and that. But he played his engineers into my alchemists. His first activation was so Mercury had the ball just in front of my goal line because I went and collected it and stood in cover. He then shot him with salvo to knock him down. The ball scattered 6 inches into the corner of the pitch, my pitch. And I went, well, the ball's staying there all game. And I just bunkered around it and he couldn't get to the ball throughout the game. The only reason I won that game is because of that scatter at the beginning. I'm not a better player than him, but I won that game. I think it was like 12-6 or something. Like I won that game comfortably, and it was because of that one scatter on his first activation.
You can look at games and you can go, that was the distinct turning point because that one thing went favourable for either player. And there's times where things will happen like that and there's no coming back. Like my order game against Dave, I missed a pass. The ball scattered behind Dave's scrum line, and then no matter what I could do, I would never get that back. And the video is online. There's no physical way of getting that ball back, and then the game just tipped from that point on.
WTC playing order, I didn't score a tap in goal with Brisket.
Ooh.
Yes.
Really?
And I missed. It's 2s, yes. 4 2s. Let's be honest. It's 4 2s. And I missed a bonus timed tap in with Spigot in the same game. That's 5 3s. And I lost 12-0 to Farmers. Surprise.
Oh my God.
And from then, I went and bought my Farmers, and I've never lost.
No. I bought the Farmers when they came out. I had them before order. But that was really sad. And after the game, my opponent was like, there was nothing you could have done. It was a wonder for me to get the ball back and get another shot at a goal, but that was just game over. But this is horrible.
On the plus side, that was 2 mistakes, not 1. Every cloud.
Also, can I close with one remark? And Luke will love this. Can we please petition Steamforge to change the heroic of Peck to say Peck doesn't see the world burn?
Oh, that'd be good. I like that.
No.
I think we just need to get rid of him or change it to. I think they should change it to target model within 4 inches gains.
Nah, I think it's fine. I think it's fine as it is.
Or remove knockdown. Why does a chicken crowing clear poison?
Because everybody feels invigorated.
What? And it puts out the flames?
Yeah, I was going to say they don't care that they're on fire.
It's a very, 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 very fantastic cook.
So what you're saying is the chicken cures disease.
Yes.
So you're saying is the current issue that we have at the minute is there's not enough chicken.
No. We're not.
Thanks for going there. I want to see a fire department in the US made up completely of chicken and just flapping the wings.
Just turns up flapping the wings
to put the fire out. See,
it's fine out of control, boys. Break out the chickens.
Full of chickens.
We've got our latest COVID Cobra meeting with we've got our associates kindly donated by the Colonel. Just
the Colonel. So everything can open now apart from KFC because they're key workers, those chickens.
The consultancy department.
Right.
Okay, digressing again. Next question.
Right, okay, this is quite a good one. So, jailing, ball killing, and standoff play are believed to be unfun to play against, but also they seem to be required tactics to become competitive.
Completely.
Yep.
So they're unfun to play against, but they're both necessary evils of the game.
Yes.
That is something I would love to see removed or made really, really hard for the bunkering player.
That's why we need to bring in my suggestion.
What was that?
Move the no-momentum generation to the deployment line after turn 1.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Sorry. My next one.
You'll learn, Luke. As soon as you pick up those skinks, we're going to ask a question.
I'm not on a skink. My skinks are built. I'm on a Bastillodon.
Definitely interrupt him then.
Wait, didn't you say you can only open this box if you've painted them?
No. I've painted all the ones upstairs. I've painted.
It's his treat for painting 2,000 points.
Yeah, I'm building some models for painting. Yeah, I've already got one Bastillodon up there. Just double Bastillodon's a thing.
Fair and balanced.
Anyway, stand off. That's kind of thing. Interestingly, the modifications to season 5 from 4, he says, seem to have led to ball killing being seen as reasonably balanced in terms of effectiveness. Ball killing is probably reasonably balanced. There's a lot of ball retrieval tech than it was in season 3.
There is. Yeah,
there is. Ball score still pretty good.
It's a great. How many times, Mitch, when I've played you, and I've apologised with the ball killing,
yeah.
The amount of time I've got the ball, I tackled it off somebody,
and you just booted it off into a corner.
And I just said, "I'm really sorry, Rich, but I've got to do this." And
and to be fair, it annoys me every time you do it, but I accept that it's a valid tactic. It's one of them things.
And I think that's the only way. But you have the ability to get the goal, like when you done that thing with Velocity, where you had all the movement buffs and everything in the world, and you got them moving 20 odd inches, coming back and getting the ball.
That was impressive. That was.
But it was annoying, but it just slowed you down enough.
It did, yeah, it did.
Do it.
Right. Next question.
Okay. Also, more good news is that Super Solo captains are balanced, fun to play against, and not actually seen as essential tactics in order to be competitive.
Which captains?
Depends on the guild.
Super Solo captains.
Okay.
So are we saying Thresher is fun to play against?
No.
But it's fun to play.
It's fun to play.
and not seeing essential tactics in order to be competitive. So super solos are balanced and fun to play against. So
they're not an essential tactic, because if they are, then everyone will be taking those particular captains. But they certainly are an effective way of winning a game.
But I think with some of them, I think the reason it makes Thrasher really good is the fact of the one that you can have 3-inch melee that you can't interact with, which is the non-interactiveness of it.
Yeah.
Then also is that he's got an obscene threat range as well.
Yes.
And he's got a splash damage that effectively is tied to his melee range.
To be fair, what balances it is he's got a terrible kick stat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's really bad.
That's none of my business.
But it's not like he can buff it now by having one of his players run forward and score a goal and then die or anything.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
He's already got football.
I was going to say, yeah, it's not like they've just got a new player that adds adds an inch kick and an inch dice and one dice onto everyone.
We'll see it now, like a 4-9.
Yeah, a 4-9 kick is perfectly fine and balanced
with an 8-inch sprint. But don't worry, he hasn't got dodges.
With dodge on pretty much everything.
How far can Bushel kick the ball now?
Bushel becomes kind of stupid
with all the auras.
Has it got to the point where Bushel can score from a goal line?
Oh, she definitely
without even moving.
She's almost at old Angel levels, I think, now. Because Angel used to be able to kick 12-inch shot, and she could take a shot from her own half and score.
10 with Grange, 12 with Shearer, up to 13. That's beyond the halfway line, isn't it?
Yeah, like a 13-inch kick is perfectly fine.
Well, let's say Angel used to be able to do a 12-inch shot. 5 dice or a 6 dice 12-inch shot.
So with the 2 dodges she gets from her passes, she can actually score from her deployment line without.
Oh no, we mean just a kick start.
No. She can score from a deployment line without moving.
Not
13-inch kick without moving.
16 inches. 16 inches, isn't it, between deployments?
She's got the dodge with ball's gone, pass back.
Yes. Yes.
I think the real one you've got to look at is, can't Amber kick it from like 10 inches away and ignore intervening models? But that's not a my business.
Do I need my glasses again?
I can play. It's fine.
Hang on, Rich. You're about to play a Super Sailor. You're about to have 6 on pin voice most turns.
Yes. I play Captain Right by putting 6 influence on her every turn.
I play Super Sailor and don't put influence on her every turn.
So Dave plays Hunters and he plays Scather and he only puts like 3 influence on her most turns.
Because, Scather, you need. Anyway, sorry, we're digressing again.
Yes. Next question. Why do you,
people
I don't know what you're eating.
Oh, I'm just.
Stegathon. Okay, I see.
Yeah. People find that guild rosters have enough variety.
Yes.
Hey, Matt.
Matt
Hackett. From. I always get mixed up. Is it the Firm? I think it's the Firm. I hope it's the Firm.
Noise? Is that a dog?
I was going to say, who's making that noise?
Oh, yeah, that's my dog.
Okay.
I'm sat right behind his drink bowl.
He's just under the table.
And you said I hack, and I was like, so whose dog is called that? Sorry, apologize too.
Yeah.
My dog's called Dylan.
That guild rosters have enough variety. The Rocky, damn it, it's not the Firm. Oh, the Firm's Jason, I think. I'm terrible with other people's names.
Is that you again, Dave?
He's got his headphone going behind his head again, so it rubs on his hair. On his leg.
Do a little turn on the catwalk.
Oh yeah, Dave's trained in being a model. When he was at school, he'd done a thing on being a model, and he learned how to do a catwalk walk. Alex and Ryan are the Firm. I give up. Which one's Jason on?
There you go. The rookie.
And then I used to do the rookie. Yes, so he did used to do the rookie.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway,
Look, the firm. Damn
Completely lost. What are you talking about?
he's talking to people in the chat.
And I can't get podcast names right. Hello.
Luke, it's 11:20 in Austria. We need to get this moving.
Oh, yes,
it is,
sorry.
yes.
Right,
Coming
so
right again.
people find that guild rosters have enough variety.
Yes.
I think they have too much.
Why?
Because I think it's kind of gone potentially from the game where guilds
had an identity.
Have an identity with a niche. Like for example, I know it was a free city draft things, but like with Fish being able to lean into like say a takeout game through like Corsair, Knuckles, everything like that. As Fish being the poster boys for the footballing game, should they have these takeout models? And again, Navigators to be like a super football team, the way that they've done to Azimuth and stuff like that, he will put people in the bin left, right, and centre for fun.
Yes, he will.
Then you've got, I know it's a free city draft player as well, but Butchers have then got a like a valid goal scoring game, like with having Lane, Brisket. The other one,
Lane, Brisket, and
Shank's got a good goal for it.
Yeah,
he's 2'6", but he's 2'6".
Still, it's a
and Cinnamon.
Cinnamon, yeah.
And so Cinnamon, yeah.
Season two, Philip was like the epitome of a super solo captain.
Yes,
she was like the original super solo captain, really.
So my point is, I think while the guilds have all got amazing variety, I would prefer them to have like a little bit less.
More identity?
More identity. Yeah, that's probably a better way of saying it. Is that fair? Yeah.
No, I can see your point.
Always one of the risks if you keep expanding a guild, you want something new, and then you look towards across the fence, and you're like,
There's only so much design space beating and goal and scoring can have before eventually they start merging into one.
So I think this loops back. I was going to say this loops back into the whole in a game where there's one win condition. There's not a lot of variety on how to get there.
Yeah,
I was going to say as well the thing about it feels like there must be a finite point where you can't release any new models because the game gets too big or elaborate.
Well, you need a 2.0.
This is where you have to retire stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, you need cycling out, so you cycle players out to be able to bring other ones in because otherwise, 16 per major guild. 10 or 11 minor guilds, all of a sudden you've got 250 players. You can't release any more because there's so many players out there at that point
that is a perfect example with Warhammer Hordes right now. Every faction gets all the rules. You have a big backlog of old models that come from 1st and 2nd edition who are just unplayable because they're not as good anymore. There is a proverb in Austria where you look at a model and you're like, that's an old model because it only has range attack 5. If this would be released today, it would have range attack 6 because that's a new model. And you have to be very aware of that maybe happening.
Sorry.
You are aware that this program has a mute button.
I've been using it most of the time. I thought I could get over to that time. It caught on the table.
Mute him now?
Oh, can I mute him as the owner?
I'm gonna.
Everybody goes on mute now. It's the silent podcast.
I could do something better. Just get rid of him. Yeah, so with the older you can kind of see with Angel and that she's an older model, and you can kind of see by the rules that she's.
Yeah, but to be honest, they looked at Flint and went, yes, Flint is an old model. Let's give him a tackle dodge on 1, and it's brought him right up to where he needs to be. So it's not completely out there that it can't happen because they've got a track record of it now.
Yeah, you can't fix old models. You just have to be willing to.
Yes,
also,
exactly.
With the sales model that Guild Ball utilizes, like having the 6-man pack teams, there is no reason not to look back onto old models because you're not diminishing your sales by inherently bringing back old models.
I agree. I agree.
So I do think rotation is probably the correct way of doing it, because then people won't lean on a 6. You go, okay, well then you've, generally speaking, if say you play the farmers, you own all the farmers. If they say, yeah, for this season, you can only use Festival and Grange or whatever,
Fine.
and then that's it. But that's the same for every guild. Or go, say for me and the Alchemists, they might go, okay, at the moment it's Midas and Soma. You need to learn, and in this one you can only have OCAT instead of ECAT, and like have a couple of tweaks within the things of going, this is what it is, and then you've got like an evolving meta with people trying to find stuff, and people are learning their guilds better because you're getting these combinations. But then every guild would have a certain amount of players out of rotation, even if they rotate out 2 squaddies and a captain, by just taking those 3 players.
Just to be super cynical now, right? Yeah. Is the 6 month errata didn't hit the mark this year, right? How can they guarantee it's even more work on their plate to go, right, these players are now cycling out, these are cycling back in? It's a lot of overhead for no benefit, for no financial benefit at all.
Well, I'd say it's for the health. No, not necessarily. Because say I love certain models in my guild, and they go, yeah, those models aren't doing it. You're like, okay, well, that's not do it. Okay, I'm going to look at this guild now for this next.
I suppose how many guilds do you already own, Luke?
I was going to say the only challenge as well will be effectively at that point they'll be selling a box and telling you that you can't play with maybe 1 or 2 of the models in that box, so you'd have to buy the other box in order to play in a tournament.
Exactly. This is it. It won't work.
Well, you could limit it further by saying, okay, you say you've got a 6 model box. I know this isn't going to be balanced or anything like that. You've got like your 2 6 models and then like 3 or more players, haven't you? You've got your play downs, your 3rd captain, your Free City Draft model.
Rotate the whole box.
What if they said you've got box 1 and the extra players? This season is box 2 and the extra players. Obviously, with a lot of balancing. Of looking
no.
But making the teams, like making the teams cohesive, working in that way. By then you're going, okay, for me to play engineers this X period or whatever, I'll buy these 3 models. So I'll buy like a Rivet, a Nomad,
but then that's never going to be competitive. You'll lose all of the competitive edge at that point because
every team would have that.
No, but what you've got to look at is there's captains that you always play into certain guilds because your other captain is trash into that guild. If you then say, no, that option is completely gone, you turn Guild Ball into rock, paper, scissors.
Well, no, because you'll always have 2 captains, won't you?
You will always have 2 captains.
You'll have 2 out of 3 captains.
Okay, right. So it's the same thing. Your 3rd captain might be the key to unlocking a specific guild.
And you can only bring 2 captains anyway.
But this argument is not valid for all minor guilds currently. Your captain might be really bad. The order captain is arguably the worst player on the team. So
makes me sad. That model is so nice. But
I love it.
I've hated her rules ever since she first came out. It's so sad.
Who's that? Sorry,
Brisket.
Season
Brisket. I think I'd prefer running Benny and Grace instead of Brisket on the team if I could.
Yeah, well, I was so excited when they first announced her as the Union captain, the 3rd Union captain. I was super excited because the artwork was beautiful, the model was lovely. I just couldn't go on with the rules. Sad panda.
Yeah. Right, are we on the last question, Luke?
Oh yes, the last one. Lastly, the number of gotchas is felt to be at a good level, whilst the impact on them is slightly too punishing. Perhaps one of the newer players to feel the pinch at first and lessen as they get more experience with games under their belts.
Right. I think this falls under the how was it put? Don't be a dick clause. If you're playing against a new player, then tell them about
the gotchas are your close controls, your sturdies, your unpredictable movement, and your counter charges, that type of thing.
And stoic, there you got it.
And unpredictable movement, I think amongst those is the worst. Like the worst feeling for the opponent, because you're building your turn, and sometimes you just don't know. And and we had this discussion on another podcast when there was like, how strong is it really? It is really strong if you're 2 minutes overtime, and you need this to not give away the remaining 2 points to lose the game. And this is where it's really strong. If you're in the friendly game or even in the friendly tournament, you might even say, look, it's there, just so you're aware.
See,
what you said, don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, I've used this example in other discussions. In the last event I went to, I was against a new player, and at the start of the game, I said, "Do you know what my players do? This is what they do. These are the gotchas." And at that point, you've told them. And then in the game, I tell them again. At that point, I've told them twice. In my head, that's a clear conscience. If they make the same mistake a third time, that's on them. But in my head, I've told them twice.
I did the same thing. I did the same thing with unpredictable
and given them the opportunity to not make the mistake twice. At that point on, I'm just throwing the game away.
Well, I agree. I'm just saying that unpredictable just feels the worst. Everything else.
There's an argument to say if you have to apologise whilst carrying out whatever thing it is that saved your model or something.
If you're sheepishly going sorry as you get your 2-inch widget out and dodge them 2 inches away,
and stranding 5 influence for a captain or something, you're like, yeah, sorry. Then I think if you have to apologise for something, then it probably needs looking at.
Yeah. Well, don't apologise.
No.
Laugh in his face.
Yeah.
What?
What are you going to do with the rest of that 5 influence?
I did laugh when the tournament when I was playing Mop, didn't I, Rich?
Yeah.
It was he's an experienced player. He's off.
I laughed as well. I laughed as well. I'm like, this is it. This is a thing.
He's about a YouTube channel. So I had. It was yes, of course it was Smoke. I was playing Smoke. He was playing Hammer to go into Smoke, and like he loaded him up. He goes, right, I'm going to charge Smoke with any reaction. I went, no reaction. And then he went, oh crap, I forgot to Iron Fist himself. Do you mind if I do it before I charge? I went, yeah, crack on. And I was like, unpredictable. He went, oh shit. He goes, you told me. No, I didn't say it. I nearly said it. Oh, shucks. Because I did say,
sugar.
At the beginning, you go, oh, yeah, just so you know, they've got unpredictable. They've got that. There's counter charge there. That's that. But
exactly.
Then
this is it.
It's an experience. If it's a new player at their first tournament, before they do it, I went, just so you know, you are aware they've got unpredictable. You've got a 1-inch melee.
Yeah.
But some people will go, well, yeah, I know. I'm going to trick it on purpose.
Yeah, this is it. Plus,
but generally not with a hammer.
You generally know people who've been to many tournaments.
Yeah.
And from that point on, you're like, cool, I don't need to tell you this. Yeah. So at that point, I don't think they're gotchas. I think they're... the thing is, at what point, right, do you basically go, I'm gonna forgive you this mistake, or I'm going to let you have takebacks and things like that? At what point does it stop becoming a competitive thing?
There is one notion that we have discussed at being the WTC team. How do we manage takebacks? And everybody makes mistakes, and our agreement as a team was we do not give takebacks, and we will never ask for one.
Yes,
that's very clear line. Very clear line. And this is also what I told every player at the beginning of the game.
The problem is, by asking for a takeback, you put the onus on the opposite person who hasn't made a mistake, and you make them feel bad about it. Because you're essentially at that point, you're not just sucking it up and saying, I made a mistake, I have to deal with it. You're asking for a take back, and now you're saying if they don't give you the take back, then that's a judgment on them. It makes them look bad. So I don't think you should never ask for a take back.
And to be honest, the other way around, where a player just gave I gave a player the take back, and next turn I fucked something up and asked, so can I just redo it? And he was like, no, sorry, it's your fault. Suck it up. And I was like, okay, this is how we're playing this game. I understand.
Yes.
But it changes the dynamic of the game. Normally, a game is kind of fairly fun and free spirited, even at a competitive level. But when you ask for one and then they don't give it to you, it kind of changes the whole.
Oh right, well that's how it is.
Yeah,
that's how it's going to be.
It can really kill the vibe that you've got of the game.
Yes. And
so I don't think you should ask for it. You should just suck it up. I think it's asking for it that causes that conflict.
Yeah. It's true.
Because you're effectively putting the onus on somebody else to be.
But to be honest, there's things you can do to prevent making silly mistakes. And there's things that you can do to prevent takebacks, which is why we use widgets, which is why we use steppers and things like that. Because at the end of the day, you have exactly at that point you haven't moved your model. So if you've put something down or something like that, then that's fine. That doesn't count as your move. So you've got
to be fair. Yeah, I mean to be fair, we've just said what are the gotchas, and we've listed like 5 things really. In reality, so if it's just a matter of if you keep in your head, I've got to make sure I ask about these 5 things. It's open information. So if you say is that person unpredictable, then they're going to have to tell you. You can't say no and then unpredictable.
Look at it this way. What do I always do? And I'm not claiming this is my own. A lot of people do this. At team selection, you put a copy of your opponent's cards in front of you, and then at that point on, you're looking at that card. You have that information in front of you.
But you can just ask the question. Before I charge someone, I'll go, right, I'm going to charge them. Have they got any unpredictable or any janky stuff like that? And if they go, oh, well, I'll go chuck us a card and I have a look at the card. It's a good habit to get into. Before you go in, you go, I'm going into there. Is there anything I need to be aware of? Like,
that's another thing that you learn by your mistakes, don't you? You only get fooled by unpredictable ones.
But I want to touch on another kind of gotcha, and that is getting heavily outplayed. Yeah. Because that is also it can also be something that really just people don't see coming. I'll give another example that happened to me again at the last WTC playing order, and he had Fangers on, like, I was playing against engineers. Swedish guy, really lovely dude, and he didn't quite kill Fangers. And what I did, I activated Captain, used my legendary, ported to him, and dodged him 6 inches out of the scrum.
Yeah,
and it was like, I've never seen anyone do it like this. I was thinking, if you're getting out, I don't want to shine light on me, but this can happen to everyone, getting outplayed by something that somebody picked up that you have never thought about. And this is, I think, one of the best gotchas you can have in the game, because you're learning through that. You will see this in the future, and also you can apply this maybe in the future. So getting outplayed is, I think, a very integral and important part of playing a game like this.
I think that's the beauty of the game in general, to be fair, because people will, if you go to the internet will tell you that each guild plays in a particular way. You use this captain, you do this, that, and the other, you move X, Y, and Z. And actually, when you take a different set of players and try something different, 1, people aren't as used to seeing it, and 2, you do come up with things that people weren't expecting. Or there's like, I mean, I've done it before, and I'm kind of, I suppose, more of a random player. I don't play the safe play or whatever, or the kind of mathematically the most sensible thing. So when I'm playing against someone that does, I'll do something random, and they weren't even expecting me to do it because it was so outlandish that they would never have thought of it. And I'm just looking at it as a bit more of an instinctive, oh, that looks good, I'll go for that. It's like a decimate. I did a decimate goal against Zai, and it was just like, I think I did 1 hit. Well, she had 4 influence on. I did 1 hit, dodged her out of melee, charged one of his players, tackled double dodge, and then shot and scored. And it's just like, I didn't see that coming at all. So it wasn't even on his radar of things to happen because it was so random. And so, I mean, it's kind of sometimes not listening to the internet and taking random stuff and not expecting to win maybe can be some of the most fun games, and they can come up with some unusual things that you might use in future.
To be honest, I think it just comes down to the old adage of you only get better by playing a better opponent.
Yes, 100%.
Or an opponent who is out of your meta.
Yes.
If people just play vastly different on the other end of the world, you might learn something, even if the player is not really better than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Completely. Right.
Okay.
I was going to say, that sounds like a nice message to end it on.
Play more people
with the meta. So, if, for example, you wanted to go to the WTC, you can probably start up a team. Probably not at the moment.
But next year, there's always next year.
Yeah, there's always next year.
sign up for your country team?
If this goes well, it will remain in Austria for the next year at least, or maybe 2. So we had the agreement for 3 years with the Slovenian guys because the Slovenian guys wanted to organize it with me, but they folded. So it's on my shoulders now, and right now
how are you completely how are you finding it? You find it really stressful? Because we find it quite stressful on the run up to our bigger events.
No, I kind of approached it like I'm a project manager in my day job, and after the WTC in September last year, I sat down and was like, okay, I need an MS project plan. I need to know my budgets. I need to know my timelines. I need to organize stuff, and I could host a tournament in 2 weeks. It's basically everything's done. I just have to pull the trigger on the mini production. I have to pull the trigger on the other stuff that I showed earlier production. Get a third thing that I haven't teased at all for the thing. There are going to be 4 things in this year's Goodie Bag. So I've kind of committed to get some nice things. But pull the trigger on all of those. Food's organized, streaming's organized, tables organized. I'd need to get some terrain painted, yes, because we had to add another 12 tables, so that's a thing.
Nice.
But I got the mats, I got the new clocks, everything's there. I could organize it anytime. So I kind of committed to having it fully organized by the end of 19, and the rest now is waiting.
There you go.
That's the way to be, isn't it?
That's what. For when we done the GG Masters, we actually sat down, didn't we, Rich? We were like, this year we said we're treating this like a work project.
Yeah, this is it.
That's how you do it.
This is how you do it.
And it worked.
And I'm juggling almost 70,000 euros.
Yeah.
You can't not do this without a proper plan, because I don't want to risk this house and the family and everything. So this has to work. So yeah.
Exactly. There you go.
Biggest. No, it's just I'm joking, but the biggest danger is seeing the WTC bank account and being like, ooh, I can buy stuff. There's my pool. if you fly into Austria, there's nobody there. And you all come in, and I'm gone.
So our flights are booked, Rich. We'll turn up to like an empty room, like, hello.
You'll be wearing your ski clothes.
Your ski outfit and your boots.
Yeah, but
sleeping on the plane for 4 days until you fly home.
The plan is to keep it for the next 21, 22, and then I want to play in one again myself. So maybe somebody else takes it. Maybe it's going to be the GG WTC or something like this.
Oh
no, I don't think we should be trusting with that.
We've done all right with the GG Masters. We've got GG Masters 2020 doing well. We haven't really plugged it recently because it's still
we're not entirely sure. Yeah, if it's going to happen in 2020
when
or not.
Be, by the way?
Our GG Masters, we've got it all booked. It's 20
in November.
20-something November.
Oh, okay. Are you full?
No.
Do
you want to come?
I want to, yeah.
£70,000 in the bank, €70,000 in the bank.
With discount, but you got 70 grand out there.
I have 100 mats and terrain and clocks. You know that.
Nice.
That's a lot of stuff.
That is a lot of stuff. That is a lot of stuff. We thought we'd amassed a lot of tournament stuff, but that's a lot.
It is kind of daunting to see all of that. I've rented a storage space earlier for other attic stuff, because we have rebuilt our attic to be another room, and now all this stuff is coming in slowly, and it just fills up everything.
It does. It does.
I mean, not tap, but you know what I mean. It was just stuff everywhere. I think are you fortunate? Are your tables big enough at the Austrian at the hotel, or you got to put boards down?
No, there are enough tables. They said there are enough tables. I didn't tell you the story about when I went to the hotel and they showed me the rooms, did I? There's
no.
Have you all seen Kubrick's The Shining?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. So, Imagine you go to meeting rooms that were done in the 70s. Because when this hotel was built in the 70s, when this hotel was conceived, everybody was thinking you need, big meeting rooms for a big winter sports hotel, obviously, because that is what you need. And they offered me 300 square meters rooms, plus another, they call it the chimney room, because there is a fire stove in there with another 100 square meters and several smaller meeting rooms. And I figured I'll have 100 tables. Every table needs 3 square meters of space at least, so you have 1 square meter, which is the pitch exactly, actually, and 1 in front and 1 behind. So 300 would be the bare minimum to go with. And I went there to review the location, review the rooms, and they had offered me all the rooms listed. And this is the big meeting room 1 with the beamer and so on and so forth. This is the meeting room 2, 3, and then we went to 5, 6, 7, and the chimney room. And I asked, so where's meeting room 4? There was no meeting room 4. There was a meeting room 4, but that's now a club location. It's club room 4. It's like, you offered me like this. There is meeting room 4, 100 square meters. I need this one because it would be really, 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 really tight if we don't have this. And he said, no, there is no meeting room 4. I was like, then your offer isn't valid, and I must most likely search for another venue. And he went to one of and this was the hotel manager, not some random dude. This is the guy who ran the hotel. And he went to one of the cleaning persons and he asked her, so is there a meeting room 4? And she was like, yeah, you go up in the 3rd floor and you go through the glass doors and then through the glass doors again, and then there's this meeting room. And I kid you not, we went there and it looked like nobody had entered this in the last 30 years. There were cobwebs everywhere. This was like, if the the shiny music would have played, I was just turn the mics and run away. But yeah, there was an additional meeting room that the hotel manager of 10 years had never seen before.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Nice.
But yeah, we got enough space, so I'm very confident.
Yeah, because we found the biggest thing was the boards. Like, we've got enough for like 25 MDF boards. No, 32 MDF boards, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have. That's the problem.
Rich's garage is full. The pitches and the terrain isn't that bad. It's all the MDF, the 4-foot boards.
They have all these meeting tables, and 2 tables together are 1 meter wide, so you can exactly fit the 1 pitch onto them.
Yeah. So
nice.
And WTCs have always traditionally been very cramped because you put up like 100 gaming boards, it's going to be tight.
Yeah,
there's no way around that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll isolate you into a small room.
Good.
No
good.
windows.
Meeting room number 4.
Put us in the haunted room.
The one with the skeletons.
Fine, I've just completed Luigi's Mansion. I know how to deal with haunted ghosts.
There you go. Okay, guys, it's midnight. I need to go to bed.
I was trying to arch people along.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Carol, for coming on. Carol,
yes.
Is that right?
Oh my God,
Carol, but
Carol, damn it!
You're missing the S in the beginning. Ook.
Ook. I'm terrible at names. I struggle with any kind of pronunciation.
That's fine.
Right.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. It's been awesome.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast. Have a good one.
Like, subscribe, and obey, and we'll catch you.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey.
We don't know when our next GG live will be, but it'll be.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Ring all bells. Bye.
Bye.